Like one of those start talking and they don't realize they're live, you know. Okay, let's do it.
Steve McQueen and Paul Newman race against time as one tiny spark becomes a night of blazing suspense. The Towering Inferno.
It's out of control, and it's coming your way.
Warner Brothers and 20th Century Fox present Irwin Allen's production of The Towering Inferno. Steve McQueen, Paul Newman, William Holden, Faye Dunaway, Fred Astaire, Susan Blakely, Richard Chamberlain, Jennifer Jones, O.J. Simpson, Robert Vaughn, and Robert Wagner. The Towering Inferno.
Those people are gonna die up there. Something's not done. I want you out of here.
So you can stop worrying about me. What about me down there worrying about you?
I'll never let you go anywhere without me again.
I'll be back with the whole fire department.
The Towering Inferno.
Set me down on the scenic elevator.
Now, the producer of the Poseidon Adventure brings you more spectacle, more stars, more suspense than you've ever seen in one motion picture. Steve McQueen is the fire chief. Paul Newman is the architect. Step by step, floor by floor, this is a race against time to save hundreds of people trapped in a night of blazing suspense as the world's tallest building becomes the Towering Inferno. The Towering Inferno.
Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and good golly, Miss Molly, everybody. Woo! We are here to rock and roll one of the greatest disaster movies, if not the greatest disaster movie ever made. Irwin Allen's magnificent The Towering Inferno. And I must say, there's nothing like watching a very large erection spitting fire. Don't you think?
Rock and roll. Nothing screams like rock and roll like that.
Yeah, so thank you everyone in the chat for being here already. It's awesome to see you all, and a couple of new faces as well. I think we get the Marshal. Good to see you. We have someone called Darius Munchausen, who I believe is really Billy Ray Cyrus in disguise. We have the wonderful D. Bud Martin, Anima Confusa, who just subscribed to the channel, and thank you for doing so. I appreciate that very much. Parrot Head, my private Discord message buddy. And we'll say no more about that.
On giving.
Joe's Atmosphere, of course, who's also on the panel. The wonderful Christian Delorme, who did invite to come today, unfortunately couldn't make it, but he's always welcome on the streams. Lord Thoth, again, couldn't make it today as a panelist. Good to see you, my Canadian friend. And Captain Spire, we were having a wonderful conversation about a boy and his dog. which I think we'll make a future stream on that movie. It's really got me thinking about that one. And Captain Fandom Nerd, good to see you, my friend. Yeah, people are coming in. That's great. Thanks for coming to see us. I'd like to also introduce my wonderful panel of Firestarters. They're hunks of burning love. They are hotter than a snake's ass in the desert. So let's get started with the co-executive producer. Mr. Darius Munchausen.
Lord, thank you for our wonderful friends in the chat and on the panel. And Lord, thank you for breasts. I know we have none here right now, but a man can dream.
Darius, you are the founder, I believe, of the Dead Boob Society. Is that not true?
I can neither confirm nor deny the existence of the Dead Boob Society or any of its members.
And what would be the next, you cannot confirm or deny, meeting of the Dead Boob Society?
The first rule of the Dead Boob Society is you don't talk about the Dead Boob Society.
Well, we'll probably talk about a few today, so sorry, we'll break that rule.
But Gary's getting a paddling.
Somebody's getting a paddling, but not on screen. So
a wee paddling.
A wee paddling. So let's just... well, sorry. Go away, flock. It's my fans. So, another wonderful regular panelist on the show and a new intro for this great fine gentleman. Imperatus, my friend, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing all right.
How'd you like that clip?
Well done. Great band, great song.
Tell us about that band for those who may not know.
That would be Emperor from Norway. That's off their second album. What the hell is the name of that album? Whatever. But the name of the song is called The Loss and Curse of Reverence. So if you want to hear the whole track, you can look that video up. Very well done and just great track.
And you introduced me to that band, so thank you very much for doing that. Obviously, I've lost yet more of my already ailing hearing.
Well, you know.
These things happen, yeah. So moving on, another one of our regular panelists, good friend of the channel.
Oh, what an atmosphere. I love a party with a happy atmosphere.
It is indeed Joe's atmosphere.
You're going to turn me into Disco Boy forever, aren't you? That's awesome.
Everyone else gets death metal. You get Russ Abbott.
I get disco. That works, though. I don't know near as much about metal as Imperatus and the Pope and all you guys. No. Yeah, disco works. That's awesome.
Well, you're bringing a happy atmosphere. That's what.
And by the way, just to let you guys know what I think of this flick right out the gate, he said it's possibly the greatest one ever made. It is the greatest disaster movie ever made, in my humble opinion. Boys and girls, it's in my top 5 to this day. It's all.
I would agree with that, but I was just leaving a little bit of opening for those who may not agree, because there's a couple of other contenders for sure.
There are.
And
there's at least one more.
Yeah, and we'll definitely get to that without a doubt. So, I do have to continue with these marvelous introductions I had some time today after prepping to do some new introductions. So let's see who this one's from. And it's not that one. This one. And guess who that's for, Pope? It's for you. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks for having me to talk about, it turns out to be the greatest disaster movie of all time, because it turns out that, instead of a structure fire, The Last Jedi was just a dumpster fire. So, it doesn't count.
That's right. Yeah, the Last Jedi being burnt to the ground would make an interesting movie, though, I think.
I would enjoy watching it much more than the original.
Actually, the greatest disaster movie of all time was the last Canadian election when Justin Trudeau got...
Look at you getting political!
Couldn't resist that one. And Today's panel would not be complete. In fact, it is complete, so let's move on. No, today's panel would not be complete without another wonderful friend of the channel and a good buddy of mine. There's multiple clips I could play this gentleman in with, so I think I'm going to give him this.
I'm a fire starter, twisted fire starter.
That one's for you, Gary. Welcome to the show.
What the fuck? You made somebody leave over that one.
I'll do it again.
I don't even know who the fuck that is.
Because it was either going to be that or the traditional, this one.
Looks like Chuck's taken old One Eye to the optometrist. Jeez.
You should grab something like fucked up song by Peter Gabriel, like Intruder.
Yeah, Intruder would work. Yeah, I might do that next time. But Darius has left us, but I'm sure he'll be back. He's had some PC problems.
I hope so.
He said he'll be right back. Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to this because this is a favorite of mine, and it is number 2 on my favorite disaster films. But oddly, it's the same producer.
Well, would you be talking about the Poseidon Adventure?
Yes, I would.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Well, that one did come before this. I mean, he set
it did, and it had Gene Hackman in it.
Yeah, and he set the template for that with.
He really did. He is the master of disaster.
Major superstar, then a bunch of aging has-beens and TV movie actors.
Exactly.
With soap
at the end of their careers,
drama, but with the visual effects being the movie. So that was the template, and he was he's back. I wonder if Darius can add himself to the stream. He can. He has
unlimited power.
Unlimited power.
The station now is the ultimate power. But he also didn't. He didn't end there. I mean, somebody mentioned The Swarm.
Yeah, I did.
Not a fan of that film.
No, anybody who is a sick, twisted individual. Yeah,
twisted individual.
That's a silly
The effects
movie.
are so bad in that movie.
They are. They're bad.
And then there was one more, which was it time when time ran out.
Right.
Earthquake's another one.
Yeah. Well,
he didn't make Earthquake.
That,
no, but I like Earthquake. It's another disaster film I really do like.
Charlton Heston. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we'll get to that. So what I want to the fact though. I mean, I did see this movie at the cinema. I was 11 years old, and it was the greatest movie I'd ever seen at the time until a certain space-based movie came along in 1976, which suddenly became my greatest movie of all time, Star Wars. So what about you guys? I know that, Joe, I think you saw it in the cinema.
We're close.
I was 9 years old when it came out, and it was an event for me, man. Of course, back then they had a whole lot more promotional stuff. They had lobby cards and all that stuff, and I loved going to the cinema back then. My dad got me going to the movies long time before that, but I really think this one, Jaws and Star Wars, really set up what was going to be the summer blockbuster. I think this actually was the first one, but Jaws really set it off the next year in '75. But I love this one. Right down to the orange motif, because that's my favorite color. I mean, the whole thing about this movie is just awesome. I love it.
Yeah, and Gary, I suspect you probably saw it back in the day too, like me and Joe.
I was 10, so we're really close in age.
Pretty similar, yeah. Oh, I remember distinctly coming out of the cinema going, "What the fuck was that? That was incredible."
Yeah.
And then, of course, you had, if you wanted to see it again, you knew you wouldn't see it for 3 years, and then on TV, you had to go back.
Right.
So I went back and saw it again.
Yeah, we went and saw movies several times back then. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was pretty awesome. Yeah. Now, Pope and Imperatus, you guys probably didn't see it until the days of VHS or on TV.
I think I saw this movie on TV when I was a kid.
Yeah. And I guess on the small screen, it may not have come across quite as spectacular, but
probably not. The special effects in this one are pretty much seem geared toward the big theatrical screen.
Highly recommend it if they ever show it at your local art house. I know we've got one downtown Shreveport, the Robinson Film Center, and they show movies like this occasionally. If it shows up in your independent movie theater, go. It's kind of like I took my daughter to go see Jaws on a big screen. She had seen it before. She has a love of film too, and they showed it at the Robinson, and I took her, and we walked out of there. I said, "It's a different movie on a big screen in a darkened theater, isn't it?" She goes, "Yeah, that was scary as hell."
And the special effects hold up well, especially even against later disaster movies that came out when I was a kid, like Dante's Inferno and stuff like that. It held up incredibly well.
Well, they put forth a lot in this production because there was no less than 40 firefighters on set every day. Real firefighters, some of them there for background and some of them to be in the scenes. And so they're being very realistic with everything.
I was fixing to say the attention to detail in this movie is pretty good. I mean, if you watch it and you watch it with a firefighter, I guarantee you they're going to sit there and go, wow, they really looked into this stuff, And I believe it's based on 2 books, isn't it?
2 books.
Yeah.
2 books.
Glass Tower. Yeah.
The Glass Tower and the Tower, or it's called the Tower and the Glass Inferno.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Yeah, we're actually definitely going to be covering that. Let me just get some images up on the screen so we got some stuff to talk about. So just give me 1 second. But I would, the model effects, the set pieces with the fire, and there was a lot of real fire on set.
Oh yeah, the stunt work. See, I'm a big fan of stunt work in movies. That's why I always love Irwin Allen stuff. And he always had stuntmen involved in a lot of the stuff he had going on, and I love that stuff, man. Practical effects are where it's at.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, there's I think over 200 stunts, individual stunts. Some of the set pieces were incredible. I'd never seen anything like it, and I know that's what everybody says when they're younger and they go to a movie for the first time. I truly had never seen anything like it. I was in awe of this movie, and of course that captured my imagination. I think in later watchings, I still love it dearly, but I can see a few flaws in the non-fire moments.
Mm-hmm.
because it's TV soap level drama, some of it, but yeah, and I love the pose. You were talking about lobby cards, and I wish I'd kept all my lobby cards.
Right, the collector's items now, man.
Yeah, but the posters, they always put such great effort into the posters. There was multiple versions. I mean, look at that. This looks fantastic. That burning building on here, really beautiful. They emphasize the ensemble cast. And that's what we're gathered. I mean, we're gathered here today specifically to talk about this movie, but also disaster movies, which was a 70s trend. And Towering Inferno wasn't the first. So certainly Poseidon was before. There may have been others. Poseidon was the big one. This is arguably the best, but it does stand up, as I think Pope was saying, that visually stands up so well today. The stunts, visual effects, model, and matte work are all top quality. You can't see the join in anything. You can't see where the what's a model and what's a matte so easily.
And on top of that, the miniature work wasn't so miniature.
Yeah,
they were giant miniatures.
Oh yeah.
I think Captain Spires nailed it. The only thing it lacked was a political message. Well, I guess you could say Steve McQueen giving Paul Newman shit about building tall buildings could have been considered a political message. But yeah, the different posters, the different ways it was promoted were incredible, and it was
that logo in the middle of that one is so 70s. The one you're using as the backdrop for the whole show. That's so 70s. It really is.
And these movies don't necessarily have the greatest cinematic reputation, but this did get 8 Oscar nominations and won 3.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
So, and one of them was Best Picture. It didn't win, but it got nominated. And the 3 it did win, I think, were the cinematography, the editing, and I hate to say it, it won for the best song.
Did it? See, and Poseidon Adventure didn't, and it had The Morning After.
And it had the best,
well,
The Morning After.
That's a way better song than the one in here, which is in the kind of party lounge scene. The it's the worst song ever to win best song in my opinion.
Yes,
and in fact, it's one of the worst songs ever recorded.
Yep.
So I don't know why. I can't even remember. I don't even want to remember it. So I don't know why they gave it an Oscar, because it could have had Oscars for so many other things. But so it got a lot of recognition at the time. I mean, it made a lot of money. I think it made, I don't know, was it 116 million in US and Canada is what they say, and 23 million overseas on a budget of 14 to 15. So pretty big hit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that Irwin Allen replicated those numbers going forward, but he certainly did well with this one. So critically speaking, it may have kind of got trashed, but it did well and the public loved it, and that's what counts in my opinion. And that template, as we were saying, there's the books. So
yep.
So there's a story behind that too, I think, which is that Fox had one of them, which is the one on the right. Fox had bought the one on the right, and Warner Brothers had bought the one on the left at the same time. And as we've seen over the decades,
you got it backwards. I think Fox owned the one on the left and shared rights with Warner Brother, and Warner significantly owned the other one and shared rights with 20th Century Fox.
And they paid a lot of money for them, like $400,000 each. So like we've seen over the decades, I think we could probably think of dozens of examples. Studios loved to put out competing movies at the same time about the same subject. So usually ended up killing one of them, or even both sometimes. Irwin Allen was
Ants in a Bug Life.
I mean, exactly. They steal each other's thunder. Irwin Allen was smart enough to say, you know what, let's just do one movie. And I think for the first time, or one of the first times, got two major studios to collaborate on a big scale movie. I may be wrong. There may have been many others before, but it's the first big example.
It doesn't happen often, that's for sure. And when I was listening to the trailer the other day, when I was watching my DVD of it, yeah, that's right, I've got a DVD of it. And it said Warner Brothers 20th Century Fox presentation. I was like, wow, two
major studios.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's happening today because I guess the last one we saw was Sony and Disney doing the Spider-Man movies, I guess.
Yeah, that's because Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man.
Because they need each other to do that.
Well, Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man outright.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if they want to do a Spider-Man movie, they have to go.
They have to have Sony involved. But that's what I'm saying. It's rare. It really is rare.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't know how many egos had to be stroked or other parts of their body, but they did it. And I don't know what the split in revenue was. I mean, I heard.
Well, the two biggest egos they had to deal with was, of course, the two stars.
Oh, we're going to get to that.
No.
We're going to get to that for sure.
Because the wheeling and dealing between those two competition is amazing.
Yeah, and it's also hard to forget that Earthquake was out within a month. It was a month apart.
Yep.
Darius is back. I love the way Darius pops in and out like he owns.
And it's my third favorite disaster film ever made.
Yeah, and
it was in Sense Around, if you remember, that they had that new tech that basically it was hyper bass. They brought special speakers.
It caused your seats to vibrate, and you feel it.
You're hyper based.
You're hyper based.
You're hyper based.
I think they did 3 movies that way. They did Roller Coaster, that one, and
Midway.
Mm-hmm.
Midway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Feel Around.
Henry Fonda and Heston.
Feel Around. Isn't that Kentucky Fried Movie?
Yeah, Kentucky Fried Movie. Yeah, and that gets to the sex scene, and the guy's going.
Yeah, he runs out of there. Deep Throat. All right, stay around for our next presentation. Deep Throat.
Yeah, what was funny, and the guy that's doing the feel around, his eyes go.
Yeah, he's like, woohoo!
But they
had fun.
I believe that the cinemas were putting double bills out of Earthquake and Towering Inferno and calling it the Shake and Bake night, which is just fucking awesome if you think about it.
Yeah.
What a great marketing tool. Shake and bake.
That's not a joke. They really called it that.
I believe that happened. They didn't do it when I saw it. It was just one. Each movie was separate, but some cinemas were doing double bills, shake and bake. So, which is fucking incredible if you think about it.
Sounds like a dad joke.
It does.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, moving on to the makers, the movers and shakers. Well, that would be Earthquake. Irwin Allen produced it, and apparently, well, he's on the credits of the movie as action sequence director.
Yep.
And in actual fact, when you watch the making of, he is there calling the shots when they're doing some of the big action sequences. Now, the actual director, John Guillermin, seemed to be pretty upset about the fact that Irwin Allen got this credit. So there's obviously something there that the two didn't get along. Irwin Allen wanted more control, and it was his movie, and shoved the other guy aside or something like that. But you know, he knew what he was doing, and it worked. So, as we'd said, he did the Poseidon Adventure, but he was big with the TV stuff from the 60s. Now, I remember watching all these shows. Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, Lost in Space, The Time Tunnel, Land of
for
the
some
Giants.
reason, I thought Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea was Sequest. I thought that was his too, but I guess
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's very similar in many ways, but yeah.
There's
Poseidon,
inspired by clearly if you watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Sequest would have been way later though. That was the early '90s.
It was. That was the
Sequest
'90s.
DSV. Yeah, wasn't that Roy Scheider?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Roy Scheider.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Poseidon set the real template. I mean, he did what he did in Towering because he'd done it in Poseidon before. You know, one or two major stars, like hip stars like Gene Hackman, a bunch of has-been older stars, and some TV movie actors. But the sets and the action were the real stars. And then, of course, the TV. Oh, sorry. Now, this is totally nothing to do with the Towering Inferno. This is Stella Stevens, who was in the Poseidon Adventure.
yes.
So I just put this picture in just for shits and giggles.
As well, you should have.
It's got nothing to do with the Towering Inferno.
She's got a nice set.
She has. That kept her afloat. That was her flotation devices. That's the one thing that Towering Inferno lacked, was someone like Stella Stevens. She's lovely. But yeah, he made these great TV shows, which I don't know if have you all seen them or any?
Yeah.
Big fan of Land of the Giants. I loved the practical effects in that one. How they'd have these thimbles that were huge and all this other stuff. I mean, they were. If you don't know about that one, guys, they crash land on a planet where everybody's huge and they're tiny, and it's really neat. The practical effects, right down to like a needle.
The ship is so cool. I had a model kit of it, man. It was great.
Yes, it was awesome. It was a great sci-fi show. Loved that show.
And what I loved about Irwin Allen with that stuff is he would build the sets for these giant ships, and it was really great. It's like you had a full-scale saucer for Lost in Space. Same thing with Land of the Giants.
Yeah, I was a big fan of the time tunnel because time travel's always been a thing of mine, and that show really fascinated me as a kid. Like, it gave me kind of spooky chills watching it with some of the time travel stuff, stepping into the machine and and you know, I don't remember every episode. It's a long time since I watched it. I watched it on VHS once years later, and obviously it's kind of hokey in places. Some of the plots are hackneyed, but some of them were really well done with some great paradoxes introduced. And I think actually, given today's technology and if you had a decent writer, you could make a really good remake of that one.
I think you could do the same thing with Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. It's an interesting kind of concept you don't see all the time.
Yeah, and the stuff, underwater stuff, is fascinating forever to humans. We love that stuff because it's a whole. It's like space. It's inner space. It's
more mysterious than space.
Indeed, there's a lot more of it.
As we mentioned, Sequest. I remember watching that as a kid, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
So seeing something like Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea pop up again was pretty cool.
And Darwin was the best character on that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dolphin.
Yep.
Yeah. They had great ensemble casts. There was a lot of fun in them. I loved the Irwin Allen stuff, and I grew up watching these on TV. Saturday mornings, they'd rerun them, and through this right through the 70s as well, not just in the 60s. So he had a great TV record, and I do appreciate that stuff very much. So, you know, he certainly knew what he wanted when it came to action and model work and all those special effects.
So these shows were all in exotic locations, like outer space.
Yeah, they were all in exotic locations in the Hollywood Hills.
They didn't have the volume back then, so they had to actually build sets.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that some of the sets that in certain films that were built were reused many times for other films. I know the sets for Conan were originally used in another movie, which I think is going to get mentioned later here. Just escapes me right now, but just the other guy that was credited as director, apart from Irwin Allen, was John Guillermin, who has the distinction of being a French Englishman, which is the most. He must have hated himself. Half of him surrendered to the other half every day.
Right.
He had a good track record though, and it's quite funny. There's a little bit of trivia, and we all love trivia here. So he did a couple of really good war movies. The Blue Max, if anyone's ever seen that, George Peppard, Bridget Rymegan, King Kong, the 76 one.
Yeah, where he's jumping between the Twin Towers when they were still standing. Yeah,
the Jeff
White Huey helicopters and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
he must have loved tall buildings or something.
He did. I'm kind of fond of that movie. A lot of people have a downer on it.
I am
quite
too.
like
Jeff
it.
Bridges, when he was a kid, it was awesome.
He was awesome, Jeff Bridges. Yeah, but weirdly enough, Shaft in Africa was one of his movies he directed, the third Shaft movie, and you're thinking that's a bit weird, you know, this English.
It is
Frenchman.
odd.
But there is a coincidence in that because, and there's the I just love this poster.
The brother man in the
That's right.
motherland.
But
Shaft is sticking it all the way.
Oh man, look out!
Isn't
Big
that
Shaft.
just awesome?
That is glorious.
Yeah, Shafting Africa, I think. Now, Richard Roundtree, wasn't he in a disaster movie? Wasn't he in Earthquake, or am I getting mixed up? But the coincidence about it is that the writer on this, Sterling Silliphant, is also the writer on The Towering Inferno.
Okay.
So same writer, same director. He wrote Shaft in Africa, and he got his urban credentials by writing In the Heat of the Night.
Wow.
So that's why he probably got Shaft in Africa.
Oh, okay. With Mr. Tibbs.
That's right. But he won an Oscar for writing that. And he is a really good writer. He's written dozens of great movies. Children of the Damned. Has anyone here seen Children of the Damned?
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
British horror movie of 1960.
Based on
the Iron Maiden song.
Dunwich Cuckoos.
That's right, and it's one of the greatest horror movies ever made. Scared the shit out of me. As a kid.
Sci-fi / horror.
Yeah. He also wrote The Enforcer for Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood.
And,
Great movie. Fantastic.
And Over the Top.
Over
for Sylvester Stallone.
The arm wrestling movie by Sylvester Stallone. The
So
trucker.
look at the variety of work, and the Over the Top will be mentioned again later because there's another link in this movie to Over the Top. But yeah, if you've never seen Children of the Damned, it is a freaking scary movie. Just I don't know.
Does John Carpenter's Village of the Damned have anything to do with that?
Yeah, well, it's a remake of the first story, which this is a semi-sequel to.
Okay.
Midwich Cuckoos.
Just curious.
Midwich
You know I'm a
Cuckoos.
Carpenter
Not
fan.
Dunwich, but Midwich. That's it. Midwich Cuckoos.
Okay.
And the kids basically are possessed and take over the village. But,
wow.
So starring Ian Hendry, good Scottish actor. And then, of course, Over the Top.
Oh, look at that poster, man.
Yeah. Was that the arm wrestling movie?
Yep, arm wrestling movie.
Written
He's
by
a trucker with
by
his son going across country. Yeah.
So the guy that wrote In the Heat of the Night also wrote Over the Top.
That's wow. Talk about two different leagues of
It's fucking incredible if you ask me.
writing. Yeah, it's crazy.
So the cinematography was actually one where they won the Oscar, and there were two cinematographers. I'm not sure if they divided the work up between action and non-action, or whether it was just a pure split 50-50, but Fred Conenkamp, who'd worked on Papillon.
That's a
with
resume right there. Yeah.
With Steve
Wow.
McQueen, of course. Patton, which is just a kick-ass movie.
Absolutely.
He'd done The Man from U.N.C.L.E. on TV, and he did the magnificent Buckaroo Banzai.
You got to do that one of these days.
Absolutely, one of the greatest films ever made, right there.
Yes,
Absolutely.
It is.
So
that falls into the category I like to call so bad it's good. You know what I'm saying? It's just.
But the thing is, it wasn't accidental. It was actually made to be like that.
Oh my god!
And that's what makes it so fascinating.
The cast and
Butte.
As the Marshal says, what a resume. To have all those on your resume, if I was a cinematographer, I'd be proud as fuck of that. I really would.
Well, Papillon, it was sort of the end of an era for filmmaking. Good, back when studio cinema was still happening, Papillon was just one of the last films to be made that way, and it's sad because we never got another film like Papillon.
No, and it was an incredible movie.
And they remade it, which
no, it was terrible.
How do you improve on perfection? I don't. Some of these remakes they do is just stupid. When I heard they were remaking that, I was like, "You're an idiot. You can't improve on that." Sorry.
So he'd worked with Steve McQueen. He'd worked with Robert Vaughn. So he's worked with a couple of people that were in this. And then the other guy was Joseph Bayrock, who has also got a fantastic record. So this was a great team making this movie.
Those are some great films right there.
When we looked at Zardoz as well, it was a great team.
Yep.
So Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte.
Saddles an airplane. Oh my
God. Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte is a black and white movie from the early 60s. Brilliant psychological thriller if you've never seen it.
Because of the gore, it's why they made it black and white.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It was very gory.
Viva Tarantino used that trick when he made Kill Bill.
Right.
Yep.
To get his R rating.
And he would know Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte. He's bound to know it. It's a cult.
I guarantee it. Yeah.
Viva Las Vegas with Elvis. The Flight of the Phoenix, another one of my favorite movies.
Longest Yard, Burt Reynolds. What's up?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then Blazing Saddles and Airplane.
Two of the greatest comedies ever made.
So these guys had fucking street cred. They had chops, And, there's no mean feat. Irwin Allen put together a fantastic team for this. And I haven't got a picture of John Williams because we all know who John Williams is, but he did the score.
Music, Jesus.
Yeah.
He did the score.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I love that picture. That's a great cover. I wish I had that in vinyl.
Yeah, they tried to in that poster there. They tried to encompass everything, every set piece they used in the movie. You got the elevator there. You got the panicked people on the roof and the helicopter, and the guys on the other roof with the breeches boy and everything. Yeah, it's a great poster. That one's awesome. Love it.
I think there might even be a burning body falling here.
Right, there should be. Flaming body.
And then the alternative, I love actually though the alternative version of that, which is a more later release. Because I love that graphic.
Mm-hmm.
It's a brilliant graphic. I think it's so cool. Mm-hmm. I don't know who did that artwork, but it's very cool.
It's very 70s.
It is
very disco.
It could be hair as well as fire,
Mm-hmm.
It's that's right.
Back when we had redheads in film.
Yeah, well, the ginger side.
Truly a crime against humanity.
So we're going to move on to the cast, if that's okay with you guys.
Go, man.
And you can just chip in with any time with stuff, but we had the famous casting, finally, in a big budget movie of Steve McQueen and Paul Newman, and by God, what a story that was.
Mm-hmm.
I think, Gary, you were talking about it before the...
Yeah, because it's really weird, because I think there was a lot less competitiveness with Paul Newman, and it's Steve McQueen's competitiveness that led to Paul Newman changing his game plan for the film. Because I think he was pretty laid back about the whole thing, and then Steve started like pushing it to where it became an issue. This is the funniest part of everything, is the exact same number of lines.
Wow.
They had the same.
right.
They had to have the same word count.
Yeah.
And the weird part is that one character doesn't even appear until well after the other one. Paul Newman starts the film. McQueen
Newman got
doesn't even come in
shafted.
until going into the second act.
Yeah, Newman later on said he got shafted because he had all these lines at the beginning.
Yeah.
So this is like an early Hobbs and Shaw, where they're both
Yeah.
like top
And they
actors.
could not they could not have more lines than the other. That was the rule that Steve McQueen established. And Paul Newman was like, yeah. And what's so funny, you hear all this stuff, this competitiveness, and then you find out when they're together, they actually got along great. They were very chummy.
Well, there's a really nice picture of them and Faye Dunaway hanging out on set, and they really look happy. They used to go back to their trailers after and have a few beers and invite the stuntmen to join them and stuff. So a lot of it was hyped up, but yeah, they had a genuine competitiveness, I think, professionally. But both of them were at the peak of their game, and they got paid $1 million each for this, which was pretty big money in those days. You know, that was good money. Steve McQueen didn't make another movie for 4 years.
No, he didn't.
They're
the next one he came out with was it the Western or was it Hunter?
Was it Jeremiah Johnson, or am I getting mixed up?
Yeah, you're thinking Robert Redford. McQueen went on to make Hunter. That came out the year he died. He did 2 films that year, Hunter, and he did the movie Tom Horn.
Tom Horn. That's the Western I was thinking of.
Yeah,
right.
And those two are an asset to the movie just by their name appearing on the bill, because people would go to movies just to see Paul Newman and Steve McQueen.
Yeah, we talk about putting asses in seats. These guys on the marquee, people are coming.
Exactly. People are going to show up.
Yep.
Having one or the other of them would get audiences to turn out.
These are genuine superstars.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I don't know what you guys think of Steve McQueen, but he was a guy to me that was kind of cut out of the Dean cloth when he was younger. But as far as acting goes, he was kind of like John Wayne. He was just himself in every movie he was in.
Yeah.
You know,
pretty much.
Really
And
didn't
he
act
did a
too
lot of
much.
his own stunts, especially driving in like Bullet or The Great Escape. That was mostly him.
Yeah, he did.
Well, and by the way, you brought up Faye Dunaway. I wanted to bring up the fact that she was a complete fucking diva when she started work on this film. She was late on the set every day. And William Holden pulled her aside and grabbed her and was very menacing with her, physically very menacing, and it shook her up. And he's like, basically, I can't remember what was said, but I just remember it. He basically threatened her.
Yeah.
And she was never late again.
Yeah, I mean, she was fucking about with him. Yeah. So these two fought over the billing in such a way that who's going to get billed first. So
Go to the poster and show that. There it goes.
With the new idea for billing in these scenarios. The
one above the other, but one goes first, one goes second. It's great.
Right, you read from left to right, so you see Steve's name first, but Paul's a little
higher. The psychology of these two guys.
Yeah, and I think that might have been the first time they'd done that. Again, I don't know.
It was the first time. It was the first time.
But you know, they made a big deal at the time of this was the first time they'd ever been in a movie together. That's not true. Because they had appeared in a movie.
That's right. And Somebody Up There Likes Me.
Yeah, Somebody Up There Likes Me in 1956, 56,
That's right.
55.
Wow.
Where
When
Steve
he played
McQueen
Rocky
was
Graziano.
That's right. Steve McQueen was an unnamed gang member. Well, he had a name in the film. He just was uncredited. And there he is with Newman in a scene from the movies.
He was fresh out of the Navy when he did this, too.
Wow.
Yeah. So they had appeared together, knew each other. They just, they'd never starred together.
This kind of deep dive you don't get anywhere else, folks.
Yeah.
I would have never
exactly
known that. Yeah.
This is what we love, though. Yeah. Everybody that's watching this and the chat and us, we love this kind of trivia. I do.
Oh, yeah,
I do
for
too.
sure. I love playing 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think McQueen then went on to be The Blob and all that stuff. So,
by the
way,
one of the greatest horror movies ever made, if you ask me, or sci-fi, whatever genre you want to put it in. I love The Blob. That may be my favorite McQueen movie, period. But
agreed. Hey, Joe,
man.
you can actually play 6 Degrees of Gary, too. And it works because I've worked with so many people in Hollywood.
Cool, man. I'm gonna have to look up your stuff.
We'll think of some challenges for you.
BRB.
About obscure people, just to see how close you are to them. But I'm sure the chat can come up with some obscure challenges on that.
The key with me is I work for Dale Dye, so any movie that Dale Dye or any film he helped work on, I'm connected by 1 degree.
Yeah. So that and the two did share a passion for motor racing and stuff like that. So they actually had a lot more in common.
Motorcycles.
A lot more, both of them. Yeah,
a lot more in common than they would have admitted in this media battle about billing. You know. So then dropping down from that, it was William Holden and Faye Dunaway. William Holden tried to get top billing, and they said, "Go forth and multiply."
Right. I was going to say we're dropping down here to William Holden and Faye Dunaway, two of the biggest names Hollywood's ever seen. You know.
Yeah, but Holden was kind of on the downward slide a little.
He was getting older.
What
was it? I think it was 2 years later. No, 3 years later he did Network, right?
Yep.
I think.
Yeah.
And that put him back up again, but it was the end of his life, really, the end of his career.
Yeah, he was getting older. No doubt.
He's playing the building owner, James Duncan, in this. And this, I have to say, he rocks a red velvet dinner jacket like nobody else.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's and the glasses. He rocks that pretty hard. Not quite as macho as the Wild Bunch, of course, one of my favorite movies.
Man, yeah.
Peckinpah. He was a real man in that one, so he's a bit
master
less...
of grit, Sam Peckinpah. Yes.
Oh, I love Peckinpah. So he's a much less. Holden's playing a much less macho character. He's not playing macho at all in this one.
The darker, grittier version of the Magnificent Seven.
Exactly.
That's right. Yes, you'll never get a better movie than that. I love it.
Yeah.
And then there's that picture of them hanging out in the set. The three of them, Dunaway, and of course Dunaway had acted with McQueen before in Thomas Crown.
I was talking to my wife about this. Everybody just thought that girl was drop dead gorgeous. I never saw the appeal, but my wife told me, she goes, she's not beautiful, she's handsome. That's what she told me. I was like, yeah, I get it. Because she's got features that are cut out of stone, but I've
never found her particularly sexy. No.
Yeah.
Well, that actually is what the women were handsome, and it got changed in the 20th century to flipping towards men and women being beautiful.
Yeah.
But women used to be referred to as handsome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's playing William Holden's fiance in this, Susan Franklin.
Paul Newman.
She's at the Doug Roberts. Paul Newman's fiance.
Yeah.
So she's probably at the peak of her fame at this point in her career. I'm not so sure things were as great later, but Thomas Crown Affair, Bonnie and Clyde, Chinatown, all great movies.
Well, she was in Network too a couple of years later.
Yeah. So this was
her and Holden
kind
were
of a
both in that one. Yeah.
peak. They were stars. Her and Holden were still stars, but not McQueen and Newman level stars in that sense. So, and then
glass ceiling, man.
Glass ceiling, exactly. Then you get
the older generation, yeah.
Then you get like the Poseidon Adventure. Who are the old guys we can get that used to be stars that are still around, and we can get a bit of member berries for the older crowd? And you got Fred Astaire and Jennifer Jones. Fred Astaire does dance in this movie.
Yes,
just a little, but.
That's what's cool about those movies from, let's say, the 70s, where when they get an older star, from several decades earlier, that's, like Fred Astaire, was way before my time. But then you could see them in a movie like this, from the 70s, where they're like an icon of older Hollywood.
Yeah, the only place to find them outside of films like this is on Love Boat.
Yeah.
They
these appear there all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, these are the guys that started to appear as guest stars on Columbo or Ironside.
That too. Yep. Columbo, Love Boat.
They would appear as TV guest stars. Legalized Adulthood has joined us. My friend, how are you?
Hello.
Hello. How's your week going so far?
It's getting a little hectic. I'm trying to get ready for my drive down to Vegas for the Friday Night Tights meetup.
You're going down. Good for you, mate. I didn't play you in. Hang on. Sorry,
meet the new boss.
So are you? We're obviously you're catching up on this stream, but what's your personal relationship with the Towering Inferno?
So,
if you have one,
I remember it. I haven't fact checked myself on IMDb on this. I was just about to do this, but my memory is that when this movie came out, I was excited to see Fred Astaire on the screen again because he had been off screen. My memory is that he hadn't been in a movie in a long time because he wasn't dancing anymore.
Yeah.
You know, professionally. I mean, obviously he could still dance, but he wasn't, you know, that part of his career, he had decided to move on from that. And so apart from appearing like maybe on a game show or something like Match Game or something like that, he was pretty much out of the limelight. And my mother was always a great big Fred Astaire fan. And she was always talking about the movie Top Hat, for instance. And when I finally got to see it, like when I was like maybe 14, I was like, hey, this movie's actually pretty good. And so that's the thing that sticks in my head about it. And of course, coming on the heels of Poseidon Adventure, which I loved. It's, you know, you probably have mentioned that it's by Irwin Allen did Poseidon Adventure before this.
Sure.
And
but that's interesting. We were just talking about Fred Astaire bringing in perhaps some of the older audience. You mentioned your mother there that would say, "Oh yeah, I remember Fred from all those great movies, dancing movies," and probably that worked because a lot of people went to see this that may have said, "Yeah, that's all, you know, explosions."
If Fred Astaire wasn't going to drag him in, then Paul Newman and Steve McQueen were. I mean, these guys were at the top of their game. They were truly Hollywood stars.
Absolutely.
So Fred getting in this allowed him to show his acting chops for once, as opposed to having to worry about dancing. And I mean, you don't just do these movies that you did dancing because you can dance. You had to be able to act too. You got to be able to sell it. So he was a good actor, and he actually submitted a song for the movie too, but they rejected it in favor of the other atrocious piece of crap they used. And God knows how bad
about this movie. It's that song. Good Lord.
God knows how bad Fred Astaire's was if it was worse. But he plays like an aging con man, Harley Claiborne, and he's got the mark there. The widower, Mrs. Mueller.
I just looked it up on IMDb, and although he had some TV appearances, he hadn't done a movie since 1969. So that's 5
long
years.
time. That's 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years. Now Jennifer Jones there, this was her final movie. But not because she died or something horrible happened. She just met a billionaire industrialist and married him and retired.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's the way to do it, right?
She had her MRS degree.
Movies. That's right. Screw you, movies. I'm out of here.
I'm out of here.
I've got to admire her for that. But
so I know I'm catching up. I rewatched this movie over the weekend, and I watched it again with the commentary track on. And there was some interesting tidbits about the Jennifer Jones character, that there was another actress, well-known, that they had.
Wasn't Shelley Winters, was it?
No. It was another, like, you know, one of those, big film stars from the 40s and 50s that was, you know, a
Barbara Stanwyck,
Paramore kind of, you know, girl. And but I can't remember the name of the actress, but she said, no, I don't want the part. And then they got Jennifer Jones and it ended up being a good fit.
Good for her to make it her last. Yeah, as a last movie, it's a good one to go out on. And then, so just quickly moving on, we've got the train wreck that is Richard Chamberlain in this. Here he is at the start of the movie. He looks even worse by the end.
Right.
He doesn't rock the red velvet quite as well, I don't think.
No.
So Susan Blakely there is Patty, who's James Duncan's daughter, so the owner of the building. She's married to Roger Simmons here, who was the electrical contractor.
The cause of the big fire.
For the building. So if there's a villain in the movie other than fire itself, it's him.
If there's a villain in the movie, it's insufficient building electrical codes, because they keep saying over and over how they built everything to code.
Just yeah, so that he is possibly the closest thing to a villain, and I guess it's not always easy to play a dumb fuck. Chamberlain handles it pretty well. Very much known for his TV work.
Yeah. Did you pick up that he and what the heck is his father-in-law? What's the actor's name?
William Holden.
William Holden. He and William Holden are wearing red.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
Because they're the bad guys.
Yeah. Right.
That's quite a good point. I didn't think of that. Yeah.
This one another thing I got out of it.
I thought when you see red, it meant there was a ghost gonna appear.
Right.
Well, red is the color of the fire, right? So it's the color of the bad.
Right.
The bad guys. Yeah. I'll tell you something about Chamberlain. You like trivia so much. A lot of people, a lot of younger folks probably don't know this. He did do a lot of TV work, a lot of miniseries, and
I know.
He was the first guy to play Jason Bourne.
Jason Bourne.
Yep.
I've got that
In
in my
made
notes.
for TV movie. Yep.
1988, The Bourne Identity.
Bourne Identity. Yeah. Wasn't the girl from Charlie's Angels on that too, or something?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and because he did Dr. Kildare, the Thornbirds. But the one I love him in, and he nailed it, and I don't always like Chamberlain, but he nailed Shogun.
Yeah,
I was about to say,
that was a huge event. I remember that.
He got to be in a miniseries with Toshiro Mifune.
That
I know,
was, yeah.
and he did nail. I love James Clavell, and I love the book, and I felt Blackthorne did it just. He did justice as
the book's
Blackthorne.
fantastic, and the miniseries is almost as good.
John Rhys Davies, Toshiro Mifune. Oh my God, what a cast on that!
No,
show.
we must do that one day because it's one of my favorites of all time, and I'm a big Clavell fan.
Yep.
That's why I love calling English people Ingles.
You guys are all missing the big one. Right before this movie, he had done 3 Musketeers, and that was a huge hit.
That's
More
right.
films.
Yeah. So he was getting into some movies, and that was good for him. I just wanted to go back to Susan Blakely there, though, that's standing next to him. She was in Over the Top.
Wow.
Which we've mentioned already, of course.
Wow.
So there you go, twice. There are 2 connections to Over the Top in the Towering Inferno. So
very cool.
I'm not sure if that's something you should be bragging about, but
I think she's hot. She
got paid. She got paid.
True.
And now we get to an interesting couple in the movie, I find, because there's this couple, you know immediately when you see them that they're marked for barbecue fodder.
As soon as he didn't get on that elevator, said, "I'll be up in a minute. I got to stop by the office." I'm like, "Yeah, he's dead."
No, it's visually cued earlier than that, because if you paid attention when they go into the executive offices, all of the furniture and everything is painted orange.
Yes. That's right. Yeah,
the secretary desks and the walls and the furniture, all the appointments in there is orange. It's the only orange or red colored furniture in the entire movie.
And it's all made of that non-fire resistant foam.
Right?
Probably. So
it looked to me like it was molded Formica countertop tile construction, but
well, that's another point I wanted to talk about, though. So everybody in this building seems to have an office with a private bedroom in it.
Yeah.
I mean, is that normal?
Wow.
If you were a high-flying 70s
executive, yeah,
it was.
Was the
you gotta have some place to do your coke where people can't see you, right?
It was that way because at this time, freaking, Hugh Hefner Playboy lifestyle for jet-setting executives was the norm, So like they're all wannabe Hugh Hefners with their own little Playboy mansion accessory to their office.
Well, you don't want to get all the cocaine dust on your work desk. That's just unprofessional.
But the first thing they all do in this movie
cocaine
is
didn't get normalized into the executive class until the 80s.
Yeah.
In the 70s, it was just booze and sex.
Yeah.
Well, that's the first thing they all do is go to the private bedrooms and start shagging. And if like Newman and whatever do it, and Dunaway, this pair do it. They just let's go for a shag.
Let's go. I tell you what, I about fell out of my chair when I read your description on the video. Something about the cast being damn near serial killers, the whole bunch of them. Because I remembered OJ's in this, but I forgot all about him and Natalie Wood. Forgot all about that, man.
Well, I thought that was the disaster. It was just a bunch of people locked in a tower with OJ Simpson
having sex.
I know. I was going to make a joke about that. You have 2 suspected killers in this. Actors in this.
I would think that this couple would be marked by O.J. Simpson. She does look a bit like his ex-wife. So.
True.
So just to talk about this couple, though, obviously it's Robert Wagner. He's a PR executive, Dan Bigelow. His girlfriend, Laurie, there is played by Susan Flannery, who's the closest thing to a babe in the movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's got great legs.
Yeah. I think she's hotter than Faye Dunaway.
Oh,
absolutely. Oh, yeah. Both her and the
got,
girl that's with Chamberlain are both better looking than that girl.
She's got great legs, and she knows how to dive out of a plate glass window. So
yes, she does.
Yes, nice legs. Shame about the impending incineration I'd written here. So
well, that's good when you're having an affair with her.
My wife wanted me to point out, watch it again. She thought it was very interesting that they had just had sex, and in the rest the scenes where the fire comes in the room and everything, she's got pantyhose on.
That's right.
And they just had sex.
But yeah, they're paying the price for doing that. They're not married.
That's it.
That's the moral judgment of God on them, you see.
They're not married, but they're not cheating either.
Oh, it's just not good enough. But as D. Bud Martin says, the standards were high in those days. This movie was just Love Boat and a burning skyscraper.
Paul Hammond and Faye Dunaway weren't married.
Or could it be the rules of the horror movie?
That's what I was going to say is the classic slasher horror film rule.
Yeah, right.
The pretty blonde dies first.
Alone.
Yeah.
That and the pretty blonde always dies first. Unless there's a black man on screen.
Them, even as
so Irwin Allen started that for horror films. Nice.
As soon as I saw them as an 11-year-old, I thought this pair are going to die because they've got no real function in the movie other than to be seen and then die. So, I mean, she is cute. I'll give her that. And then we have another Robert, of course, Robert Vaughn, who plays a U.S. senator in it. So we're all rooting for him to die.
The man from U.N.C.L.E., man. Yeah.
Man from U.N.C.L.E., the Magnificent Seven. Wasn't he the last Magnificent Seven left alive?
I think he was.
Until he died. Yeah. I like Robert Vaughn.
There's speculation in the commentary that he must have had more lines in the original script because he's kind of featured prominently in a bunch of scenes, but he doesn't really say a whole lot.
That's right. You see him, but you don't hear him. Yeah. Which is the way we should be with senators, I think. That's
the only crime he ever committed was Superman 3. But it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay.
You mean
a lot of
crime
people
as
are
an
guilty.
actor or crime as a character?
Crime for taking the money to be in it.
A lot of people are guilty of that.
Because he was the voice of the raping computer in Demon Seed.
Oh my God.
Demon Seed is great.
Okay.
Love that movie.
There you go.
And then we have, last but not least, an up-and-coming, rising young star, O.J. Simpson.
Well, he was patterning it. To be honest, he was patterning his career after Fred Williamson, Shaft. Right? He was trying to become the next guy like that, coming out of the NFL.
Whatever happened to him? You don't hear about him now.
Oh man, who was the guy that was? He was in Blazing Saddles. He was an ex-football player that went into acting.
Oh yeah, the one.
He was Mongo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Alex Karras.
Alex
Karras.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he wasn't the first guy to like transition from professional football into acting.
No, Fred Williamson was probably the one.
Yeah, Fred Williamson was one of the first. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
but he was
another
trying to
black
model his
guy,
career
too.
like that, and actually, guys, be truthful, he's not bad in the movie. You know,
So the
really isn't.
The juice here is Harry Jernigan, the building's chief security
Jim
officer.
Brown. That's who I'm thinking of.
Jim Brown, yeah.
Jim Brown. He was in
Big
a lot
Jim
of
Brown.
stuff. Yep.
So that's the main cast. Obviously, there's Dabney Coleman and a few others kind of pop up in
There's
small roles.
a supporting member visible in this screenshot that if you don't have a better picture of the little computer blinky lights in the background, I can tell you all about that.
Is it HAL 9000?
No, it's do you want me to save it for later? Or do you want me to tell you the story now?
No, do it now, man.
Okay, so in the 1950s, before intercontinental ballistic missiles, the United States was worried about a Soviet bomber attack coming across the North Pole. and they built a line of radar stations called the DEW line, the DEW. That was the distant early warning radar line across Canada, and they built a second line across the far Arctic. And all these radars, this is the 1950s, so it's vacuum tube computers. They had all these radar stations, and they collected all this radar data, and they sent it back over phone lines to a central location where all the radar data would be analyzed, and they would do friend-foe analysis and have real-time tracking updates of all these planes that were in the air. You know, presumably there's not going to be much commercial traffic up in the North Pole, right? So they're tracking anything. And IBM built a giant vacuum tube computer, of which there would be 2 computers running simultaneously all the time for a hot swap. And the vacuum tube computer consisted of many, many cabinets that filled an entire floor of a building, like a giant concrete bunker that they built that was hardened against, you know, not necessarily nuclear attack, but conventional weapons attack. And this was called the SAGE system. Its military designation was the ANFSQ-7, a wonderful military designation there. And they built this giant vacuum tube computer, and by the time they had the whole system running, then ICBMs came online, and they started switching to satellite tracking. But they still used it as the basis of their air defense system for many, many years. And in fact, the last vacuum tube computer SAGE system was shut off in 1980. That's how long they ran it. But they started phasing these systems out and replacing them with the next generation of computers that were transistorized. And when those vacuum tube computers got decommissioned, they had all these maintenance panels because the vacuum tubes obviously have a finite life. They're much less reliable than transistors, which is why they had, you know, one of the things they had was the dual computers running all the time so they could hot swap from one to another so they'd never be offline. So these vacuum tube modules would get plugged into these maintenance consoles, and the big bank of switches, if you go back to that still photo, the big banks of switches and lights there is you plug the vacuum tube module into that thing, and all the lights come on to tell you whether it's functioning correctly or not. And so it's a huge bank of lights because it's basically all the combinations for a digital circuit. And the little switches are how you change the inputs into the circuit to validate the function. So when these computers got decommissioned, all these maintenance panels were no longer needed, and they got decommissioned, and they went into the surplus, government surplus, food chain. And the Hollywood props guys bought them all up and turned them into blinking light props. And if you pay attention, you will see this all throughout the 50s and 60s and 70s. It's in Lost
Airplane
in Space.
too.
It's in Airplane. It's even shows up in episodes of Lost when they're in that bunker underneath. There's an ANFSQ maintenance panel blinking in the back.
Right. So they didn't just make them. Yeah, the studios didn't just make them from scratch. That's where they got them from.
These are all decommissioned, mostly maintenance panels, but some of them are other panels that, you know, were designed for the functioning parts of the computer display, the operation of the computer. And there's actually a website called Starring the Computer that will show you all kinds of computers and pieces of computers that are used as props or background material in various films and TV shows. And the SAGE computer shows up in so many of them because those blinking light panels are just so goddamn beautiful.
They are. The cool thing is, I just want them to flash in sequence. That's all I want.
The other thing you might not know is that this SAGE computer system was one of the first real-time computer processing systems, and IBM used it as the basis for a commercial airline reservation tracking system that they deployed in the 60s called Sabre. So
okay, I've heard of that one. Yeah. Now you see, this. Where else would you get this level of knowledge on a show?
That's some super deep dive and geek shit right there.
That's what makes this show special. And I wish I had the more you know thing, but I don't. I do have this though.
Would you like to know more?
Would you like to know more?
Press 3.
So, what can you tell us about O.J. Simpson?
If you would like to know more, press 3.
That's right. But thank you.
I can tell you, he did phenomenal things for Bronco sales in the 80s.
He did.
And for knives in the 90s.
There you go.
Yeah.
And remember, friends, engineering is a path to citizenship.
And just to let you know, my joke earlier was the fact that Robert Wagner is still suspected by some people to have killed Natalie Wood.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
That's why I brought him up. Yeah.
Well,
I loved how
later.
Tarantino put that into Once Upon a
really
Time
don't.
in Hollywood with Brad Pitt's character. That was funny as hell, man.
I
laughed
think-
my
Yeah,
ass
I was
off
like,
at the
holy
theater.
shit, is that what he was doing with that?
That's
And
exactly
it
what he was
is.
doing. She
So-
was bitching at him, and he's sitting there with a spear gun going, you know.
So now I'm going to.
What was that joke? Hold on, before we go any further.
Oh, my God.
What was the big joke back in the 80s after she died? Do you guys remember?
Oh, it was something about her
You,
floating.
No,
or
what
something.
kind of wood doesn't float?
Doesn't float.
That's right.
Natalie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
That's
So-
some dark humor right there, my
That's
friend.
Yeah, it
very
is.
dark. Yeah, that stream. The stream is now dead. Yes. Right. Thank you for killing us.
Demonetized.
So hopefully I just want to check in with the chat, and we're obviously got some images starting this of the movie that painstakingly recorded. We Captain Spire, good to see you contributing, sir. Das Wolfen, the Marshal still here. Soul Assassin, deleted scenes. Good to see you, my
Oh,
friend.
Stephen's here. All right, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my buddy
Yeah,
John is here, Das
yeah,
Wolfen.
Monkey Jeebus.
One of my two favorite monkeys right there.
The Sentinel, our good metal friend,
Hell,
the Sentinel. I got my Judas Priest on today, Sentinel. British Steel.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You're not
and
Scottish unless you like Iraq.
lots of others. So here I actually enjoyed these scenes of, I think there's some of the best helicopter
Yeah,
scenes,
love the opening of this movie. I actually served on the Presidio, which is to the left of that picture right there. You see the Presidio of San Francisco right there at the base of the Golden Gate Bridge.
It was a
It was
shame
3
when they
months in
closed
the
that
army.
base.
Wasn't Sean in that movie?
I wish they
I
hadn't
can
closed
kill
that
you with
base.
this
It shouldn't
shum.
have
I'll kill you.
Yeah,
with
never
this
been
shum.
closed.
Yeah, it was a dog and pony show. It was for generals to go. It was like a resort for them. I was a military policeman. That's what I
But
did.
it makes great use of that
What's his
coastline.
too, and I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
The
they
f-
should have
the
never
f-
closed
the-
it. You're right.
Yeah, the filming of this coastline and flying in was really an effective opening. I thought it's
And the music
show-
set the tone for how grand it was, man. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
indeed.
Yeah.
John Williams, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
Now,
I probably can't
did you-
play any of it.
Love
You
that
play-
right there. Love
The,
that.
and firefighters
Him and
love
Jack
this
Webb,
movie.
man.
They
love
sent
their-
firefighters
Mm.
sent Irwin Allen helmets for years after, and thanks for making this movie. They loved it
No.
Wow.
because they were the heroes.
Yeah, they were.
That's a pretty neat. Yeah.
Did you mention?
So-
I don't know if it's where it is in the credits, but it mentions how this movie is based on 2 books and it's a joint partnership between 2 studios, which was
Yeah,
Warner
we covered that.
Yeah,
Yep, sure did.
Yeah, we touched on that, Richard. Yeah, earlier. Yeah, we showed
Irwin
the
Allen's the only
books.
guy that could pull that off.
Now that's the building. Now, and of course, you're going to build the tallest building in the world on the San Andreas fault line.
Right? Do it in San Francisco where it can rock the house, right?
Yeah. Although perhaps now the real problem for it would be buried in human feces before you could get into it.
You'd have to keep the homeless people out of the lobby.
I choose to remember that city the way I saw it when I was in the military in the mid 80s.
Of course,
It was a pretty city, man. They called it the air conditioned city.
Oh, it'd be beautiful.
Because you had to have a jacket in the middle of summer. If you're right on the bay, you could drive 1 mile inland and it's hot as hell. But right there on the bay, first thing in the morning, you better have a jacket on. It was chilly.
Yep.
So I love the pattern in this lift. It's so 70s. If you were actually stoned out of your mind, that would give you a real trip going up
Yeah, it
180
would.
flights. And that.
So
Yeah,
what's
then
interesting is
it's
that
just-
although this movie is definitely set, in the mid 70s from like the decor and the suits and stuff,
Yeah.
nobody has like that 70s long hair.
No, they
None of
don't.
the dudes do.
No,
Hmm.
these guys are all real conservative. All the guys are. Yeah.
I just love the way William Holden was showing him his teeth earlier. Look at my teeth. Aren't they so nice?
He's
love
got
it.
Yeah, there's
sideburns,
the-
though.
Yeah. Get that red velvet jacket on. That's what we need.
We should do Stalag 17 as a movie sometime.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, yeah. Love it.
Nobody rocked the Buddy Hollies like William
Like
Holden.
William Holden.
No
yeah.
doubt.
Well, Irwin Allen was wearing them too in the picture we showed earlier. So, And no one ever
You know
saw them
that
in the same
elevator
room.
scene as he rides up and the numbers just keep ticking up and up and up and up. That was actually, you know, a thing that would be an entirely novel experience for most people in the audience. You know, most people had never been in a building that was taller than, say, 20 stories.
Yeah.
Right.
And what was this was meant to be? What, 185 stories? 138 stories. I don't know how many feet. But
No, it's 183. I thought 160.
Is that right?
Or something.
Could be. Yeah, could be.
It's up there, but you know, this is before the World Trade Center was completed, and this is before the Sears Tower was built.
This is the point. Sorry, Richard. This is the point I was trying to make. The first thing he does when he gets to the building is goes for a shag.
Hell yeah, that's a man right there.
He's been away for 2 weeks.
Was in his contract.
And he's wearing orange, and he doesn't burn to death. So there you go.
The greatest color in the world, orange.
Yeah,
you know it.
Orange.
Yes.
Actually, I love that scene because he approaches the chair and takes her hat off, and we don't see her, so we don't know who it is until she turns around, and then we see it's Faye Dunaway.
Yeah, it's a very cool reveal. Yeah.
Neither does he, and he was wishing it was Susan Flannery.
It's the first time they meet.
Now, I forgot to say something earlier. Paul Newman and William Holden did another disaster film together.
Was that the end of time?
Yeah, when time ran out. A really terrible film. Terrible.
Oh,
James Franciscus is in it. It's just not a very good film.
No, it sucks. Yeah.
Don't go away.
Isn't that the volcano movie?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't go away. I have a picture of that poster somewhere.
Oh gosh.
I'm gonna subject you to it.
No, please don't.
And instead of Faye Dunaway, they had what's her name, Jacqueline Bisset.
Oh, the girl from the deep. I always remember her from the deep, man.
They actually had her boobs. They didn't have her, just the boobs. Hang on.
That's really all that matters, anyway.
Jacqueline Bisset was gorgeous.
Jacqueline Bisset's boobs starred in this film.
Yes.
They were the two biggest stars of the film.
Yes.
Lord, thank you for this movie.
Yes, zoom in, dude. Zoom in.
And of course, well, let's see how close.
No, you get to see those boobs in a wet T-shirt in the deep, boys and girls. Yeah.
But Ernest Borgnine as well, who was in the Poseidon Adventure.
Oh fuck, he was in that.
And Barbara Carrera, Veronica Hamill from Hill Street Blues, Alex Karras, and Burgess Meredith.
Wow.
As the Penguin.
I choose to remember the Towering Inferno as Irwin Allen's
written
last
by
movie.
Sterling Silliphant.
Because his next two
it's the same writer.
I'm sure it was a better script than movie.
Right.
I knew I kept a copy of this in case somebody mentioned it. So there you go. You're very lucky.
Now if you really want to just totally ruin his name, you can put up the Swarm poster too with Michael.
Oh no.
We'll do that at the end.
No.
Oh my God, it was horrible.
Yes, Soul Assassin I did enhance just for you. But yeah, her boobs did a great job in that film, I thought.
Yes, excellent.
So this is when we see Fred Astaire.
You got change for 100? Yeah, great
the
con
nickels.
man.
It was a 50.
Or was it a 50?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because these are in the days when a cab ride would be $3, you know. But, yeah.
Well, it's like 95 cents was the fare.
And we know this guy's not what he appears
It's
to
like, should have had change for a 50, buddy.
I'm going to get you guys to vamp. I'm going for another beer.
Woohoo! Go, man.
Someone take charge.
Oh, man. Yeah, everybody's just arriving to the building. And he's just, that's pretty cool. He looks at the whole thing all the way up.
That's
Very
actually
cool
the
stuff.
first time you see the whole building.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, we saw it from afar, like set in the city, but that's the first time you see it like up close.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's been mentioned yet, but they built 2 models of the building.
No, they haven't talked about that yet. No.
The model that they just showed, it's 75 feet tall.
Oof.
The model is 75 feet tall.
So it's like a third scale of the actual freaking building.
It's like, yeah, it's like
big.
1 to 10 scale.
Jesus.
Wow.
I think it's 160 or I can't remember if it's 130.
Now that was cool. The mother was
stories.
deaf in this scene, and the kid's signing. She's interpreting for.
Didn't know that.
Oh.
I missed that.
The guy that does.
Imagine making a 75-foot model that's only purpose is to get blown up and lit on fire.
Yeah, and soaked.
And soaked. Yeah.
Oops.
Check out the headset the kid had on. He looked like Ant-Man.
Did you recognize who the kid was? It's Bobby from.
Yeah, he's from Brady Bunch, isn't he?
Brady Bunch.
Oh,
yeah.
Right, yeah.
I
Good
think this
catch.
was the only
Now-
movie I ever saw him in. I don't know if he did anything. after
Sherwin
this.
lent him out.
So this is what I love. This room, we saw it with the O.J. Simpson. This building has got like NASA level control systems.
Yeah,
This is actually
they have
accurate.
to be like that.
This is actually
because
very
the
accurate for
environment-
the time.
This is all the electrical, but they've got the control units, the security rooms. They've got tons of equipment. It's great.
And then
And they've got a snap-on tool container at the back, which is really nice. Oh, and here we go where we first realised that there might be some shit going on with the electrics. It's a short.
Oops.
But
That's something I find interesting about this movie is that the disaster is literally a slow burn that builds up until things are out of control.
Yeah,
and it
very
basically
cool.
starts in the beginning of the movie, and it's just been going this whole time, and no one noticed.
And this is the
Yeah.
first.
Right here.
This is the first indication of fire, of actual fire.
Mm-hmm.
So we've established that the electrics are wonky, and then what I love about that scene.
Oh,
when
no
the
wonder
fire
people are
starts-
going to die. OJ's here.
That's right. Gonna get you, sucker.
Heat factor critical.
What I love
right.
about that scene when the fire starts is how the electrical box like pops open, like there's some kind of little explosion going on in there. But it establishes the precedent that all the electrics are so wonky that it literally causes explosions, and which we get to later on, of course.
Yeah.
I liked just the fact that the room that the fire is starting in has got all these rags lying around. It's got flammable liquids.
Oh, yeah.
Not in suitable containers, which
Yeah, the
nowadays
contractors that we'll see later on, the contractors that worked on this really didn't clean up after themselves very well. did
Hey, they got the low bid contract.
I'm involved in a lot of safety work, and that shit is just not acceptable. Now here we go. He's
All right,
trying to
this thing,
he's
that's
tuning the
freaking
radio in.
maintenance console.
He's trying to get sports on the television here. Can't get ESPN on this thing.
You can't see it because we're just looking at stills, but if you watch that scene closely, OJ is manipulating the light bulbs as if they are switches. He's moving his fingers up and down on one of the bulbs, going like, "It's not doing and I'm like, dude, that's because that's not a switch. That's a light bulb.
It's a light bulb. Yeah. So 30 seconds after they got into bed, they're having a conversation. It only took 30 seconds. So.
Oh, dude, this conversation could be had today because
it could.
Like,
It could.
do you want to settle down and be a mother, or do you want to go for your
powerful
career?
women.
My career is really important to me.
But this is the Love Boat style TV drama, soap drama part.
Yeah.
Which is just like.
It even looks like TV on some of the sets. They're so badly
I want that jacket,
overlit.
though, man.
They
That
look like
suede
TV
jacket
sets.
is badass. I
Hey,
want
Polly,
that jacket.
how are you, buddy? Do
Yeah,
you want to
Polly.
join in? We can get you the link, my friend. Just let me know. I'll
What
send
I
it
love
anyway.
about Paul Newman's character is that he is in command of every detail of the specifications of this building from top to bottom.
Yes.
He knows exactly what
architect.
he spec'd out, and he can see at a glance that what's been installed is not what he put in his plans.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the inkling to him that all is not
I love
well.
the depth of this scene too. You've got
it's number one or number two. Number two. Robert is number two.
I do like the pacing though, that they've already started to introduce that the problem is already underway.
Mm-hmm.
Like even with the soap opera style,
It's
we're
kinda-
chatting in bed about our feelings. It's already happening.
It's a Hitchcock kind of thing. Here's the bomb. It's ticking. When's it going to go off?
Well,
right?
and it's really that it's already gone off. It's just the audience knows that, and we're waiting for the cast to figure it out.
Yeah, now we're just trying to figure out who's going to get barbecued.
I think they did a really good job of introducing all these characters to enough depth that by the time at the end, when they're in peril, you actually care about them.
Mm-hmm.
The Fred
Or not,
Astaire
in
and Jennifer
certain cases.
Jones and all these, actually, OJ kind of disappears. He's never in danger, but
It's more of an action role for him. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a hero.
but
yeah.
he's not part of a couple, right? Everybody else is part of some kind of couple or a family relationship
He
between William
doesn't
Holden
like
and the
couples.
son-in-law.
He doesn't like couples.
Oh man,
He
doesn't
was
play well with
part of a
couples.
couple.
violently doesn't like couples, right?
He was part of a couple at the
But
beginning of the filming, but it didn't work out.
Yeah, you're right, Richard. Though it's, I think the Fred Astaire, Jennifer Jones couple is the best relationship in the whole.
Now,
thing.
is it
They
me or was she hitting on him this entire scene before
hitting
Richard Chamberlain
hard
showed
on
up?
him? Hitting
I mean,
hard
she
on him.
wanted some Paul Newman, man.
She
But that
did.
tells you already, like the marriage of the daughter to the son-in-law is already sketchy.
Yeah, she wanted some of that Newman sauce, own sauce.
Well, I mean, it was the mid '70s. Every woman wanted Paul
I mean,
Newman.
look at that look, man.
Yeah.
He's all over that dude. He ain't got time for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would have said, "Fuck the building. Let's stay here for a while."
Yeah, and Paul Newman, he's riding at the top of his career now. He just come off Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid
Sundance
and
Kid,
The
yep.
Sting.
Oh, The Sting was just a year before.
Yeah.
Huge movie.
Man, that movie. What a film.
You know that Steve McQueen was the first choice for above Robert Redford for Butch and Sundance. but
Really?
he turned it down. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, speaking of
but-
first choices, I looked it up and it was Olivia de Havilland who was the first
that's
choice
what it
for the
was.
Jennifer Jones character, but
Really?
she
Wasn't she in
passed.
Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte? I may be getting mixed up.
No,
No,
she was not in that.
who was in that?
That was Joan Crawford and Betty Davis.
Joan Crawford, Betty Davis. Yeah. Yeah.
And I look from minute one, you just instantly don't like this guy.
Oh, I know. He does play the.
It's so funny
slaughterous
because
slime.
Chamberlain plays such likable characters.
He does.
And he's
This
so
one, he's
slimy.
an ass,
Yeah,
and he
he's
pulled
just
it
such a
off great
scumbag.
too.
He's such a
That's how good an
scumbag
actor
in
he
this
is,
movie.
man.
Mhm.
He
Yeah.
is the yuppie before yuppies
Yeah.
Yeah,
in this scene.
yeah.
But I don't.
And I
wanna
guess we
just
should have known something was off because he's almost got that 70s hair. I see some feathering going on there.
love the couch though.
Yeah.
That tartan is beautiful.
He's got the feathering, but it's not long.
No, it's not long, but that's about as
You know
close
what
as
I
we get
liked
on the
about
guy there.
Chamberlain, and the same with Rock Hudson. Their sexuality did not impact their acting. They
No.
could
No, they
act.
kept it quiet. It was their business.
They could act as romantic
because they wanted to play
partners.
lead actors. They wanted to play in romantic roles.
And they looked convincing when they were with women in movies. And
Look,
they,
it was
yeah,
a different time.
Yeah.
People didn't broadcast who they were. They didn't.
Yeah, and
you
they
know.
didn't let it impact the actual job that they were doing.
No.
You never felt they were just putting it on when they
I
were
didn't
in
know he was
romantic
gay
scenes.
until just now.
It-
Like
well,
seriously, never
Jim
knew.
Neighbors, Gomer Pyle, gay.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
But
that one is easy. That's-
No, that-
that one
Can you
don't
believe
have to
that
even
he and
think
Rock
about.
Hudson had a relationship?
I thought that was you, Gary.
That one's
I thought
harder to swallow.
That was hard to
harder
swallow.
to swallow.
That's what Rock said.
I thought it was you and Rock Hudson, Gary.
You wish. In your
Rock
dreams.
Hard Hudson.
Yeah, he's got a whole kit for conning people there.
I
He's
thought it
going
was
through
Rock
his-
Rock
going
Hudson
through
and
his
Sergeant
bonds,
Carter.
figuring out which one's going
That's
to work
right.
the best and everything.
So getting ready for the party.
Rock
But
Hudson,
yeah,
man, that's another San Francisco 70s icon with McMillan and wife.
Yep.
Oh, Macmillan and wife, yeah. But this couple is the most convincing couple in the movie.
Yep.
I don't know whether it's just because they're great actors or they're simpatico together, but you do really care about them.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you don't really give a shit about Robert Wagner and Legs McGee.
Yeah, you kind of know they're tagged at the beginning
That's
of it, right?
They've got.
It's almost like they've got little tags on them. Hey,
If you had
this
an
guy's
ultraviolet
only
light-
lives like about 15 minutes.
All we needed was
Yeah.
like a big lighting shadow of like an X across them or something.
If you had an ultraviolet light, and scanned it over their head, you'd see a big cross on it, like marked. You're marked.
See, unlike Star Trek, the guys in red are actually protected in this movie. So, no.
I had, been a while since I watched this movie, and as I was rewatching it, I was like, oh my God, there are so many big names packed into this movie. And I think that was another thing that was unique to this movie, is that it was one of those first blockbuster movies that was packed with stars.
Yeah.
Ensemble cast. Yeah.
That's why I put it up there with Jaws and Star Wars as the movies that really started the summer blockbuster, you know?
Yeah.
Of course, Jaws came out the next year and really set the tone, but
Yeah.
I put this one in there as well. I do.
You're going to need a bigger hose.
Right? You're going to need a bigger
Apparently,
hose. And a longer one at that.
That's what Rock Hudson said to Gomer Pyle.
Oh!
Well, that's one thing you can say about this movie. There wasn't a lot of sex in it, but there was a lot of hose.
Yep. A whole lot of hose.
Laying some hose.
The hose pipe was being laid, that's for sure.
I just twisted it another way. Hose, like laying hose.
Oh!
Yeah, so I'm sure you know the anecdote from Irwin Allen after Star Wars when he said, because his films started suffering after things like Jaws and Star Wars, and he said, I don't understand how a movie without any stars and no love story in it can be a hit. And he was talking about Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't get it. These movies did kind of kill his thing.
Yep.
To a certain extent. So, you know, and there's only so many times you can blow up a building or sink a ship.
The Swarm killed his thing.
Yeah, well, it did. That's true.
Well, do you think Star Wars killed the disaster genre?
I think to a certain extent it did, because it was again.
Yeah, Roland Emmerich keeps trying to bring it back.
He does.
Yeah, he does.
He sure does. Roland
There were
Emmerich.
plenty of big budget
yeah.
disaster movies after this, with the China Syndrome and Dante's Inferno and stuff like that later.
Well,
You want to talk about timing with the China Syndrome, though, man.
Yeah,
China
that's
Syndrome's more of a political movie than
It
a
is.
political drama. Yeah,
True,
yeah.
It's a
And
drama.
the timing of it was bananas. Nobody was going to see it when it first came out, and then 3 Mile Island happened, and everybody ran to the theater to see it. It was crazy. That may be the first time a movie was saved by a disaster. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but, you got a glimpse there of the external elevator, the glass elevator. You're thinking
scenic
"There's
elevator.
that's going to be a problem.
Just a
See,
little-
everything in
Somebody
all the
would die in
furniture.
that
Look,
elevator.
all the furniture is orange and red.
And
Yeah.
that's
You know they're
awesome
gonna
because it's orange is the greatest color in the world. It's my
And
favorite.
here we
color.
go. She's going to get those librarian glasses off in a minute.
Oh yeah.
She is the only babe in the movie, really.
Well, she
She's one
takes
of
her
the
glasses
raiders.
off and she rubs her nose like she's got a headache, and then they're snogging like 4 milliseconds later.
But they've got no function in the movie other than this. That's it.
Yeah, we're cannon fodder.
That's right. Yeah.
It's like we're nobody important. We have our own scene. Oh, we're gonna die, aren't we?
Well, as the
Like
PR guy,
Sam
he's-
Rockwell in Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
Oh God, the song. Oh no.
as
Oh,
the
no.
PR guy, he's isolated because
Oh.
nobody likes PR people.
No, that's true. I hate this song with a vengeance. It's dire. It's not, as I said, it's not only the worst Oscar-winning song; it's one of the worst songs in history.
Did it win an Oscar?
Yes,
It
it
won
did.
the Oscar for best song.
Yeah. Just come on. Give me a break.
Oh, there's
yeah,
another
this-
dude.
This barman,
Did a
I
lot
think,
of
is a serial.
films.
This
Yeah,
barman's
he
a
did a
serial
lot of
killer.
stuff. The thing I remember him from was
Sesame Street?
He was yeah, of course, but
He was a serial killer in that.
he was Sonny Crockett's first boss on Miami Vice before ever Jason Voorhees.
Oh shit, that's right, in the pilot.
Yep, he sure was.
He's got a one episode part as a scientist, I think an anthropologist, on an episode of X-Files.
He was everywhere back then. He was.
Well, this
really-
is X-Files. It's not back then, but that's how long his career is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 20 years later.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
He was
There's some
an
hoes
anthropologist
in this
talking
tower.
about the
There's
Jersey
some
Devil.
hoes in this tower.
Wow.
Soul Assassins nailed it. Yeah.
Hose.
There's some hoes in this tower. There's some
That's right.
hoes. Where is Snowdub when you need him?
Right.
So yeah, didn't Poseidon had a song too, but I think that's before the ship turned upside
Oh, a
down.
much better song. I think that was a top 10 hit, wasn't it?
That was a better song. Yeah.
God,
I can't
what was the
remember
name
it.
of
And
it?
by
I just looked
by
it
the
up.
way, we just lost Gregory Sierra like a year ago.
Really?
Yeah, he died last year.
Maureen McGovern sang the song, and it was
Morning After.
The Morning After. That's it. Yeah, it was a huge hit.
Wasn't she the same singer that did this one?
I'm not sure.
I think it is Maureen McGovern. Yeah, but this song was just vile.
Horrible.
Honestly, even the captain and Tennille would have thrown up if they'd been offered it.
I'm telling you, man.
Muskrat Love.
The Morning After, yeah. That was a much better song, but
Oh my God, yeah.
you know what I wish they'd done? I wish they'd had a heavy metal soundtrack to this movie. It would have been much more effective.
So the song wasn't written by John
I
Williams, was
sense
it?
some creative editing in your future.
I'm looking it up now,
Possibly.
guys. Hang on. I'll find it.
Yeah, let's just blend some Black Sabbath into some of the burning scenes. And,
Now, although I could identify the maintenance console there, I couldn't identify what type of computer terminal OJ was looking at there. It's probably like an IBM terminal.
It is sung by Maureen McGovern, and it's written by Al Kasha.
I just don't know those guys.
Kasha and Joel Hirschhorn. Joel
You're
Hirschhorn.
talking the Poseidon Adventure song?
No, We May Never Love Like
This
This
one.
Again. Yeah, this horrible song. I'm
We may
giving you
never
your
walk
target.
again. we may never walk again. is
Right.
the title.
We
But
may
this is
never
when
smoke
shit-
again.
That's right. This is where and no one's smoking in this movie, and there's still a fire. But yeah, this is where the shit starts to happen. And now Paul Newman's done 80% of his lines, and Steve McQueen has yet to say anything. So
I know, isn't that crazy?
yeah.
And
It is, but McQueen was very happy with that, apparently. Now, is this the 81st floor?
Yes.
Yes.
I think it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Mhm, yeah, it was 81.
Fire breaks out on 81.
Yeah, it's kind of halfway. Well, so it's well up there anyway.
Forward command center set up on 79, 2 floors below the fire.
Yep.
Yeah. And this is where shit. I mean, these are when the really good scenes start to kick in.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
stunt right there was awesome. When he
Yeah.
got burned, that was fantastic.
You know,
man.
there's two, actually three. There's three guys walking around lit on fire, and at this time, that was a brand new innovative stunt that had not been done before. If it had been done before, it hadn't been done much before this movie came out. That was a really big deal in stunt world.
Yeah. They must have come up with a suit that protected him during it or something, because
That's what they
guy,
did.
The
And they
guy
have like
later
a
on with
fake
Wagner.
mask that they wear that looks like it's made up to painted.
Yeah,
to
it
look
had
like
to
a
be
face,
something
but
like
it's
that,
a facial
yeah.
protection.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where Rob, Holden's character says, "No, we're not stopping this party. We're not shutting this."
He's
shit
the
down."
mayor in Jaws.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
we're leaving the beaches
just
open,
thinking that.
okay? Don't worry about it.
That's right. Yeah.
Isn't there's some blues like "You Can't Stop This Train"? Is there some kind of blues song there?
Yeah. Train kept a rolling all night long.
Now,
What a
one thing
friend.
I do find interesting about like this film is the fact that a lot of the actors, the stars, like Steve McQueen and Paul Newman both, had a lot of close quarter shots where they were really actually doing their own stunts.
Yep.
Newman and McQueen do a lot of their own stuff. Newman does that ladder climbing thing when it's the busted ladder later on.
Yep. Probably
It's their
the
exposure to
slowest part of
fire,
the
though,
movie.
that impressed me.
There's that great bit in the making of, which we could show later if we've got time, which is McQueen's. This is when he's tied up waiting for the explosions to do the water, and he goes, "If I die, I give my truck to Ali." Ali McGraw that he was married to. Make sure Ali gets my truck.
Right. I love that scene right there, where the guy on the right,
The guy on the right.
Yeah, when
Special
he
Agent
realizes where they're
Yeah.
going, he's like, "Oh,
He's like, "Oh,
Jesus!" and,
shit."
and the guy next to him's
Oh,
a
yeah.
rookie. He's like, "Are they as bad as I hear?" And he's like, "It's like
One of
fighting
the
in a
firemen
chimney."
is
Yep.
Paul Newman's son. I don't know which one. I think you see him in the building, and he refuses to jump down something, and it's
yeah.
Paul Newman's son. Now he
That's
died.
the guy right next to him.
Yeah,
think
that's
it
him.
might
That's
be.
the rookie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be him. Yeah,
No, it is him.
yeah. So he's in this, and unfortunately died a
That's
few
the
years
scene
later
with
of
the
a
best
drug
line in
overdose.
the movie.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah, they know where they're going, and they know what shit it's going to be. Yeah. So here's Steve McQueen, and he plays, I believe, the Italian police chief
He's a
O'Halloran.
battalion, yeah, battalion commander, yeah.
Yeah, he's the Italian police chief Michael O'Halloran.
Right.
I may have got that wrong. I maybe picked that up wrong. I don't know. But, Italian, Spanish, I don't know. Whatever.
Quincy McGee.
Michael O'Halloran.
But I'm wondering, what I'm wondering is how this conversation they have during the movie, it goes by really fast, but it sounds really technical. And I wonder how much of it is actual stuff that firefighters would be worried about. I got a feeling they did the research on it.
On the commentary.
Well,
on the commentary, the film historian guy says Steve McQueen, when he was researching this part, he went and hung out with firefighters and he even went to some of their active fire scenes. And although the insurance was like shitting bricks, he was out there like manning the hose and stuff, even though he wasn't supposed to be.
Right.
And
Now, see that guy there with Steve? You see that guy?
Yeah.
He'd been in previously like 3 films when he was in Bullet. He was in this film, and he was in oh God, what was it?
What's that guy's name?
Papillon. He was in Papillon, one of the prisoners.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but I have
He
seen him.
and McQueen were friends in real life.
Yeah, I was fixing to say it had to be something like that.
I would never
that many movies with him. Yeah,
that guy's been in a bunch of stuff, though. A bunch of TV as well.
Oh, TV too, yeah. But he and McQueen were good friends, and so he was always getting work with McQueen until he died.
I would never claim to be a fireman, but I've done a lot of firefighting training, both in the military and in oil rig work.
Don Gordon.
And I believe this is pretty close. The lingo and the approach is pretty close to accurate.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why firefighters love this movie. Because it absolutely speaks.
I was fixing to say, it looks like they did their research. It doesn't sound like a bunch of gibberish.
Oh, hey, look at that. We got some. Let's ban that.
You've made it big time, man. Look out.
I finally got the bots. I'll just save that one for later. And
we'll make you a little trophy.
Thanks, Darius, for grabbing some of those. Appreciate it.
We got it at the same time.
Yeah. Jesus, I must be making the big time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks to the chat. The chat are.
It's Backdoor Gary.
So good.
Oh.
Backdoor Gary always draws them out.
Thank you, Bud.
See, I thought he was going to walk right in there looking like that, and then he thinks twice about it and takes the helmet off and everything.
I think it's 100. I think you're right. It's 131 floors. There, 135. This
135.
Well, that's where the party is. Is that the top then? Is that the top floor?
Right.
Well, remember the water tanks and stuff. There's stuff above it though, but that's probably the last floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last floor. Yeah. Now, this building was full of both business at the bottom and residential further up, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I believe the businesses ended at floor 80.
Right. So 81 was kind of where there was a sort of divide and a control center and stuff.
Both of those guys had crystal blue eyes, man. That's crazy.
Oh, incredible, isn't it? It's the eyes. If you look at Newman and McQueen, the eyes are incredible. Big part of their attraction.
Yep.
The commentary also mentions how what's the scriptwriter's name?
Sterling Silliphant.
Sterling Silliphant. He researched a lot of fire stuff and was talking to fire chiefs all around the country and in different locales and understanding building codes and how they varied from place to place. So just because something was built to code doesn't mean it was built to a certain standard.
I know.
And
code is not
he tells a story of how he's eaten lunch with these fire chiefs, and the fire chiefs are like, nope, we only eat on the ground floor. I won't eat any restaurant above the ground floor, and preferably in the basement and not the ground floor even. And then when they go to pick their table, he makes sure the table is right underneath a sprinkler. And then when they sit down, he's always making sure he knows where all the exits are.
I heard that. I remember somebody saying that. I always sit under the sprinkler. Yeah.
And after researching all that, Silliphant adopted the same habits. He wouldn't eat in a restaurant above the ground floor anymore, and he wouldn't sit anywhere but under the sprinkler and so on.
It's a lifelong habit for me, but whenever I go to a new building, I always look where are the exits, where are the fire alarms, etc., etc. Just years of safety training
Oh, I thought I was
Always
going to
look
say
for
because
them.
you're a pyromaniac.
This scene right here, that shot right there. Hold it
I'm
right
Donald
there.
Sutherland in Backdraft. That's me.
Go back one.
Go back one.
Oh, I don't know if I can.
Go back
here.
two.
This is
Okay, well that's fine.
me
That
pause it
shot
and
right there, I don't know if you guys noticed it or not, but I pointed it out to my wife last night. They all get up calmly, but as that camera pans, they start to run towards the elevators. It's a pretty cool build up.
If you were in that crowd, right, you'd be like, "Oh, we all got to get up and leave." And as you start walking over, you realize, "Holy shit, there's only 2 elevators." And
Right,
they
realize there's only 2 elevators. We got to get over there. You know,
you got to get the hell out of here.
I just thought that was a cool directional choice. He did
If
a
it was
wide
me-
pan shot, and you got to see the.
I would tell some
reaction
of
the whole
them,
crowd.
you might as well start jumping out the windows now because you know it's going to happen later.
Oh man!
No, one thing I didn't understand is why they didn't start using the scenic elevator right away.
I'd have been trucking down the friggin' fire escape already.
Well, you'll find out why
start
that's
walking.
not.
I know
gonna
that,
work.
but I'm
Start
just saying.
walking.
At that point, I might have tried that.
Well,
walking.
this early it might have worked for the one stairwell.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
Now, is he-
contractors, those silly contractors not cleaning up their stuff.
So is McQueen now up on the 79th
He's
floor?
on 79 at the command center where all the blueprints are.
Now, this is where I really start to love this movie because you start to see the exteriors with the flames coming out of the model, and it starts to look really impressive.
And again, that thing is 2 stories. The actual model is over 2 stories tall.
It's
Yeah.
7
It was a
feet
giant
tall.
miniature.
And
That's
this is
more
why
than
it
2 stories.
looks
That's
so
7
good.
stories.
Yeah.
75 feet.
Yeah, and that makes it look so good.
Now,
Well, they kind of had to use something that big, right? Because
Yeah.
this is pre-CGI, and if you put flames on an itty bitty model, the flames are going to look gargantuan.
That's the problem
right?
they ran into.
So-
Exactly.
Yep.
That's what forced them to do that, is because the flames look
look
large.
stupid.
They look weird
Mhm.
because it
Yeah.
makes it look like a miniature. And by increasing the size of the model tower, they were able
Yeah,
to shoot
it
the
makes it
flames
look
and make it
awesome.
look realistic.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
Now, what's interesting is if they were to do this movie today, I get they would do the fire in CGI, and it wouldn't look as good as this because fire and water are the 2 hardest effects to animate in computer animation and have it
Yeah.
look realistic.
I think the only movie I've ever seen that did fire better was Backdraft than this one.
and even
Yeah.
there, didn't they use a lot of practical?
Backdraft was amazing. That movie.
Didn't
was.
they use a lot
Yeah.
of practical in Backdraft though?
Yep.
They
You do.
did
You
use a
have to.
lot of
You have
practical.
to.
Yeah, a lot.
And then Backdraft owes a lot to this movie, I think. You know,
Yeah.
it owes an awful lot. The guys that designed and worked on these stunts and set pieces and action sequences, they influenced that a lot,
BRB.
in my opinion. They learned a lot about how to do it.
As I rewatch this movie, every time I see William Holden, I just keep thinking of his Weasley character from Stalag 17 because that's exactly what he's doing here. He's running a big game.
Yeah, he's not the Wild Bunch William Holden, that's for sure. He could have a shotgun hidden under that jacket, though. We don't know. But yeah, these set pieces, the filming of these must have been really incredible. And when you watch that making of with the water tank explosion scene, Irwin Allen had it rigorously planned to the second what was going to happen and laid it all out for the cast and crew. Each of them was meticulously planned. No one got hurt.
Well, that water thing, they had to do it in one take, and it's water on the real stars, so you can't.
But nobody
put
got
stuff
hurt
in.
in any of these. That's incredible.
That's because
So
Alec Baldwin wasn't there.
Irwin Allen hired a lot of the local firemen as extras, and so in these scenes where they're fighting the fire, a lot of those people walking around in the background are bona fide firemen. They're not actors.
Yeah, like I said, at all times during the making of this film, there are 40 or more firefighters either on camera or on set at all times. Every
And these
day.
exterior shots too. The people moving these hoses around, those are the real firemen. They're not actors mucking around.
There's another guy on fire.
Here's our second guy on fire.
Yeah.
Oh, now these are incredible scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the elevator one, which when I first saw that, I was like, oh my God, that's horrific.
Yeah, that I was going to the bathroom, but that part where McQueen throws the hose on the elevator trying to save
Yeah,
those
he
people when it
flips-
stops.
Wait a minute, you're going to the bathroom on camera?
No,
I got a bottle.
I remember that, but he flips round and shoots it into the elevator, but it's too late by then. They've been. Imagine the horror of being in that elevator. The door opens and you're incinerated immediately. Yeah.
Oh man, burning to death is one of the most horrible ways to go.
Oh,
yeah,
my
terrible.
God. I couldn't imagine it.
Yeah, I could not imagine. Now here's where the hot stuff is about to get even hotter.
Oh yeah.
She's got pretty short hair for the 70s.
What's coming up here is probably the best fire stunt of the whole movie. I would think.
It's stuck in my mind for decades, the Robert Wagner stunt.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's a stunt man. These stuntmen are incredible. But
yeah,
the bit where he has to go through the building and oh my God. And now I don't know how much of that was fire on a glass screen in front, or whether the guy had to stumble through real fires. I don't know the ins and outs, but it looked incredible.
Well, it sure looks like. I mean, right out the gate, he stumbles into a chair that's on fire, and it sure looks like he catches fire right then.
Sure.
But they definitely slowed the film down at that point to extend it a little longer. It was definitely wasn't shot in real time. If you understand what I'm saying, that it was in slow motion, that whole piece. But it
is one of the most effective moments in the film, and it's probably the one that stuck in my mind the most for years. That particular scene, and you're almost half thinking, "Oh, he might make it. He might make it.
He might make it. Yeah."
And he starts.
It's stuck in your mind more than Jennifer Jones saying goodnight to her cat. Come on.
Absolutely.
Well, I would have thrown the cat away if I would just throw the cat away.
Well, and then you see
OJ rescues the cat.
OJ, you see his little paramour there when she's suffocating, and like you see her with the chair. It's just like, oh, she's gonna freaking open. She's gonna break the window, isn't she?
I really didn't care about Jennifer Jones's pussy. I mean, it wasn't important. Yeah.
I'll tell her. Here's
OJ. OJ's on the phone. The bitch said what?
I gotta go.
I gotta go. Where's my Buick?
Where's the white Bronco?
Yep. Oh my gosh.
Poor OJ. He really, apart from that, his career was going quite well.
Yeah, it was. He was in the airplane movie.
What really sucks is what he did ruined
the
last Naked Gun film.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if Wagner did his best here, his character, to hide the truth from the true awfulness from her, but she knows she knows she's fucked. They're all fucked. Yeah.
What it amazed me about this scene is when they're like, thinking they can maybe make it out. He doesn't tell her, put some clothes on.
Well,
no.
Get some clothes on, soak yourself.
Run through this fire naked. That's gonna be the best way.
Yeah. But even he wets a towel and puts it round his head. Big fucking deal.
I'd have soaked myself head to toe if I was going to run through.
I'd be jumping in the shower for sure.
Get every tap in the place on. Soak the place with water. I mean, you might not live. At least that's what you would do. I mean, I've got a wet towel on my head. That'll do. It just makes no sense. However, we know they're marked for death from the beginning. So
plus who when they're talking to the receptionist says, disconnect my phone. You say no calls. You don't say disconnect my phone, but he makes a point of saying disconnect the phone.
Yeah.
Mr. Tickle Trunk has a point. When you're as hot as her, what does it really matter how many clothes you're wearing? She's hot anyway.
There he is. Yeah, he's going up right there. The first chair he hits.
First chair he hits. But this scene is beautifully filmed. I mean,
it is.
I have no idea how much of it was flame in the vicinity of the stuntman and how much was projected in some way, maybe with glass projection screens. But it looks, I mean, somebody did run through that.
And it looks like it was all done in a single take, right?
Yeah.
They didn't
try
it twice. or anything.
It did,
And they got that flare up right there that keeps him from going down the stairs, and then he slowly walks like he's out of gas, and he slowly walks right through that glass. Yep, and falls off.
Captain Spire has a great point. I mean, worse, 10 minutes later, the fire department makes it to them.
They
If they had just waited, right?
Flooded the room.
They find his watch and they show it to Steve McQueen, and they said, "Is this one of yours?" He's like, "Nope, must be a civilian."
Yeah, if they flooded the room with the taps on, hey, get in the bath full of water, whatever. But they didn't know the fire department was coming.
Well, and she would have been fine if she hadn't opened.
Now
if
this
she hadn't
part,
smashed the window.
now I don't know if any of you guys have ever been in a fire.
You cannot.
We had a dryer catch fire, and she was getting low to the ground. I was like, this is realistic because
that's what you have to do.
Your eyes would be burning. You wouldn't be able to see. You couldn't breathe. That's for sure.
And now the minute she breaks the window, the force of the fire moving towards the ear.
Yeah. My wife is just pointing out the pantyhose thing.
And if you think about this movie,
but they just made love, so those pantyhose are wet.
Look out!
Don't! Soul Assassin. Imagine if this was in the 80s, the hairspray. Her head would have been on fire by now.
Yeah.
And there they are, right there. There's where you walk through the glass, right there.
They were 10 minutes away, but if they hadn't disconnected the phone,
right?
Why not just take it off the hook?
Right.
I don't know. Well, that's movies for you. No.
It is a movie.
We knew that we were going to die, and they died. But
play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yeah, her flying out the window. You see a number of people going out the window in this and falling down the building, hitting the building on the way down. That was pretty horrific.
Yeah, it was.
And it's
they didn't prescient and disturbing for its correlation to 9/11, right?
That's right.
That's what
my buddy
of.
that was over for dinner last night when we were watching this said the same thing. He's like, "Man, all I see is the Twin Towers here." I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty realistic looking." Yeah.
The Twin Towers were going to be completed in 1976.
Yeah.
So it's a few years after this movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
They were
And
being
you notice
constructed.
in the scenes in Robert Wagner's suite, you can actually see the shape of the windows are similar to that of the tower in the Twin Towers in New York.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If OJ dies in this, because I can't remember if he does.
He doesn't.
The last line should always be, "Tell Al Cowling to kill my wife."
I remember he gives the cat to Fred Astaire.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Fred Astaire still got the pussy, regardless of what
There you
happened
go.
to Jennifer.
Because he's an OG like that, man.
Because
You know what we need to do to escape this fire is take the Fred Astaire's.
Even
you know that men that can dance do have the best success with the ladies, of course. So,
still pulling down the pussy at 75.
Look out.
Right.
Look out.
Darius, OJ, my website in the fire. Firefighter, why do you feel excited?
That was good.
Oh,
There you go.
That's funny.
Now the film historian gets it wrong here. He says that it's the daughter that's deaf, but it's not. It's the mother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The mother is the one that's deaf.
What?
And she gets
The
carried
daughter
out
was
by
signing.
OJ.
She was.
I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Das Wolfen didn't like my joke about Fred Astaire's.
Oh, God. What did he say?
That was horrible, Gary.
It was horrible, but funny.
I see red.
Comedy is sometimes challenging and brutal.
You can't help
Just
what's
like,
funny.
Just like
You just
Gary's
can't
nudes.
help it.
Just like Gary's nudes. Challenging.
Just like my nudes. That's right.
Look out.
Now they're always bitching about representation in movies, but I see some black guys in this crowd, and there was an Asian guy in there.
Yeah.
So don't give me any of this bitching about how it's all white men here.
The question is, did they burn or do they survive? This is the question.
Well, they're just extras. They don't matter.
Well, I mean, the head security
It's
guy
actually
is
all
O.J.
the
Simpson.
white men die horribly. All the horrible deaths.
I was fixing to say because all the women get out, pretty much.
Right. Yeah.
Except for one.
Think about it,
Jones.
they send them
Except
all
for one.
first. Remember?
There's at least two exceptions.
Except for
Yeah,
poor
I know
Jennifer
that, yes.
and
Right.
Jennifer Jones and
Mrs.
Susan
Wagner.
Flannery there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But what I'm saying
The
is,
two hotties
you know,
die. all the ugly
they
girls
send all the girls out of
survive.
there first.
So by this time, the elevators are all fucked, except the
They find
external one.
the one, and also the stairs. They were just checking the stairs. The one stairwell's full of smoke, and the other one, the door won't open.
Yeah.
And now
We'll find out why in a little bit.
As I was watching this, every time they went to an external shot of the whole building, every time they do that, there's another floor that's exploded
That's on
and is
fire.
on
Yeah.
fire. So we're up to 5 now, I think.
Yeah.
But he said, Paul Newman said it early in the movie. He said, if we got wiring like this, we could get fires breaking out everywhere.
That's right.
And there's no way the fire department can cover every one of those floors. They can barely contain floor 79, 80, 81.
Yep.
They're not on every floor by any means. They're only on 1 or 2 floors.
No.
And this part I felt was portrayed really well. I mean, you do have the feeling that shit is going on and these guys are fighting hard against it. But they're losing. You know they're losing.
I need 2 volunteers to go up, and like all 5 of those guys step forward.
Step forward, yeah. No. That's the mentality. That's them.
I'm stealing a lot of the guys' comments from the commentary, but
quite right.
He said how all the firefighters loved this movie and all the high-rise developers hated it, and Irwin now was like, we'll take the firemen and we'll let the property developers hate us. We don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it raised an important issue that hadn't really been in the public's mind before about fire safety in these buildings.
Yep.
Well,
and that was something that people were
no ladder could ever get there.
Yeah, with the construction of, I mean, again, Sears Tower hadn't been built yet. Tallest building in the world was going to be the Twin Towers when they were finished, and people were really starting to think like, well, what happens if there is a fire in there? What's gonna go on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'd just like to say cheers to Bird Martin for joining us and
guys,
safe trip home, mate.
And guys on the NYP or NYFD or FDNY had to be saying that at the time when the towers were going up is, we better hope there's never a fire on the upper floors because we're on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just no way you're going to get.
They hadn't yet invented that little external chute that you would get in and you could slide down, but it would prevent you from accelerating so that you would slide down at a reasonable rate so you could exit the top of the building and slide down like 100 floors. Yeah. That hadn't been invented yet. That was invented in the 80s or 90s.
Basically, we're just rolling the dice here and hoping you'd be okay.
What I love about Steve McQueen's character is through this whole movie, he never gives up. He never gets fatalistic. He's always working the problem, and he's always coming up with a new angle whenever presented with a new challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. The best example of that is when they come to him about the external elevator.
Yeah.
Because he sits right down and he starts rubbing his head and he's thinking.
Or even when they decide they can't get people off with a helicopter and he decides to deploy the breaches buoy.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But he's the classic hero, this classic stoic hero that rises to the occasion, and every challenge that's presented to him does not stop him. He absolutely does not stop.
He never loses his cool.
That's the stoicism, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been rewatching a lot of $6 Million Man, and my God, is Steve Austin as cool under pressure as anybody could possibly be. That guy
stoicism is a real philosophy, and
I don't know. I seem to recall him crying in hallways a lot. Didn't he cry a lot in the hallways?
That's Days of Our Lives.
that's
the new Lord of the Rings. That's what that's going to be.
Well, that's
talking about our feelings over a table.
You want your heroes, your masculine leading man heroes, to be calm and stoic.
Oh my God! And crawling on these pipes in this blown out stairwell.
Yeah, this is where the movie dragged for me, man. This
dragged a bit here. Really well, it was up and down a bit. I mean, it was a bit 2 minutes too long at least.
Mm-hmm.
But Newman did do all this himself. That is one thing.
Maybe you're just not as afraid of heights as I am, man. But looking down that stairwell shaft, and he's crawling up and down that janky pipe. It was That was
You
a
should've
real
just thrown
sphincter
the kids.
clencher for me.
Anytime you look down a shaft, it gets scary.
I'll take your word for it.
Why didn't he just get her to throw the kids down? He would have caught them.
Oh my God! What?
Honestly, I'll catch them. Honestly. Oh, I missed that one. Shit, I missed that.
Oh
one.
my god!
Now, but see, this is the evolution of. I'm stealing from the historian dude, but this is the evolution of his character in the beginning, where he's with Faye Dunaway. He's like, I don't know if I want to do the married thing with kids. You know, he's uncertain. But here, he's already moved into the father protector role, and he's, you know, he gets the boy to climb down on his own. So that's encouraging a younger man to become more than he's been before. And he carries the little girl down on his back. That's protecting the weak. And he encourages Jennifer Jones to make the trip because he knows he can't carry her. And she's got to do it on her own, but he's supportive and nurturing.
I just thought it was funny as hell when she gets down to the bottom and she's trying to get off. That kid is holding on to his belt. I'm like, that kid would never in a million years be able to hold that grown man.
Well, he's holding onto a pipe behind him, and he's holding onto his belt.
I know, but still, that kid would have his arm ripped out of his socket if he really the weight shifted there and he had to go.
They'd all three go down if they if fell over. All three of them would go. Or
I just thought it was funny. He was trying to help, but yeah.
Well, Newman tells him, he's like, grab onto my belt. He tells him to do it.
So don't you think if he'd done this, he would be going back to Faye Dunaway and saying, "I don't want kids. I could have been out of there 10 minutes earlier without those."
All they're going to do is slow us down.
That would be a modern take on it, but you know, men were still men in 1974.
Yeah,
men were men, and small furry animals were small furry animals. That's
men
true.
were men, and the sheep were scared.
There you
That's
go.
Right.
Cue that beautiful sheep footage. Let's see.
So Darius is right. He does know, and he knows about the shaft too. He's looked down all those long shafts.
Shaft.
Shaft. That's right. In Africa.
Shaft in Africa. Even got him with a long stick on the poster. That's just
it's all about Sterling.
A long stick.
Man.
Is it a spear?
It's
and was somebody
shaft.
chucking it?
It's a shaft.
It's only a spear if somebody chucks it.
Oh my god.
Oh God.
Was his last name Jones?
Right.
Oh yeah, don't say that one.
Oh
hey man, that's a
that
great
get us in
movie.
trouble.
That's a big movie.
Maybe Basketball Jones?
Basketball Jones.
Basketball Jones.
Basketball Jones. Yeah. Man.
Oh, hey, Manowar.
Hey, Manowar, how's it going?
Oh, Manowar. Yeah, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for joining us.
I'm coming here for this. Oh my gosh.
Well, that's we're
yeah, those guys were getting worn out climbing up the stairs, weren't they?
We're beginning to regret it too, Manowar. Don't worry.
Hey, this movie goes on for 2 hours and 45 minutes. We got
It does. It's a long movie, man.
Is there an intermission?
Oh, well,
don't think there was.
Yet.
I did try to delete as many of these stills as possible. So
Here
we're
comes
actually we're well
the
through
naval
the movie
guy
now.
with his air rescue copters.
I
About
think
to
they
lay down the
they
bad
should have
news that it's
used,
too windy up there.
They should have used the Apache helicopters, I think.
They didn't
Just
have
to shoot the
Apaches.
They didn't
building
have
down.
Apaches back then.
That wouldn't be
Shoot the
invented till
building down to
1988.
It's all
save
about
it.
the Huey. Yeah.
Shoot the building to save it. Blow it up to save it.
Well, they
It's the only
eventually
way to
do,
go.
don't they?
We have to nuke the building from orbit.
It's the only way to be sure.
Yeah, it's the only way to be sure.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that would be like
Apache.
Yeah, that's
Apache-
funny.
I'd like to order 12 pizzas.
Yeah.
What?
He's like, yeah,
no
we'll
pineapple.
We'll just trot right up the stairs. He goes, trot right up to 79, will you? He goes, oh,
Yeah,
we'll be
no
down here.
pineapple, exactly. If anyone in this film ordered pizza with pineapple, I want the whole building to burn to the ground.
Well, you're in luck.
Here's where we discover the shoddy contractor
Yes,
work.
The shoddy contractor.
Everyone's
work.
getting really concerned about the timeline. It was a joke. Anyway, yeah, this bit did drag a little because, you know, This is
You can't
this
see
is
it in the
Paul.
picture, but there's cement right there. Of the
Oh, that's why they
wheelbarrow
couldn't
full of
know.
cement right there.
This is why Paul Newman he realized he wasn't going to get the screen time that Steve McQueen did later in the movie. He probably insisted all this was put in.
There's
the
a
hole where
story
Ceiling
that
Cat comes out.
So
Yeah.
in the opening credits, Steve McQueen's agent negotiated for Steve McQueen, because you read left to right. They arranged for Steve McQueen's name to be on the left, and then Paul Newman's agent arranged for Paul Newman's name to
Yep.
be higher than Steve McQueen's.
Which was the first time they'd ever
It's the
done
first
that.
time. Yep, it was the very first time that was done.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And they still do that today.
And apparently, there's also they counted the number of lines that each one had, and
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
That
came up
they
12
had
short
to
or
have the
something.
exact same number of lines.
Hey, how Brando of them.
Actors.
I'm surprised.
And like
they
I
didn't go
said,
down
though,
to the syllable.
They chummed around. They got along. They were very good and friendly with one another. It's just there was this weird competition, man.
Yeah, I mean I don't think they disliked each other personally. It was a very competitive environment because they were both major stars at the top of their game, and they didn't want the other guy to one up them.
Yeah, these guys
And
were
they both
at the
started
top
at
of
the
their-
same time, career wise.
Yeah, these guys were both right at the height of their career at this point.
The
so,
only
like,
difference
both of them
is
were
that
kinda-
Paul Newman was a better race car driver. He didn't wreck and die.
Oof.
True enough.
Damn.
True enough.
And the whole room goes quiet.
That's right.
Yeah, but he wasn't in Bullet.
Right? He wasn't in
Very
Bullet,
true.
was he?
True. That is the
Yeah, the
best
two-
car chase of all time.
Yes.
And that was all Steve McQueen too. There was no stunt driver for that.
There were two films that came out one year after the other, Bullet and then Freebie and the Bean, that were the fathers of modern
Oh my God.
versions of that film. With Bullet, it was the birth of the modern police chase film. And the next year, Freebie and the Bean was the birth of the buddy cop film.
Yep.
You're the only one I know who
trying
brings
to
up Freebie
rewatch
and the Bean.
Bean forever.
I love that fucking movie, dude.
I know you do.
Great film.
It's hard to find. It's not on Netflix, and it's only I don't know if it's
It's
even been
available on
released
Amazon now. You can buy it through the Studio Vault film, but I think they finally put it on Blu-ray.
Oh,
it's on
I'll have to
Amazon.
pick it up then.
What did you
It's
tell
just
him?
a
Okay, you go
70s
first.
extravaganza
So
tonight.
if you
Yeah,
fall, you're not
go
taking
first.
any of us with you.
Yeah, exactly. And again, that's stoic kind of heroism of basically
Alright.
just getting that guy to do what he needs him to do, and
Yep.
start acting on his training.
Mhm.
And we've dealt with it. I dealt with it in combat a couple of times. It's like, hey, here's what I need you to do. Talk him through it, get it back
yeah.
in the fight.
This is where the best line in the movie is, where the guy says, "I'm afraid to
Tag your
go,"
girlfriend.
and then Steve McQueen's like, "Well, then you better go first, so when you fall, you don't drag us down with you."
Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind
And then the
just-
guy's like, he
just
hands
a-
him the giant carabiner thing for him to plug into, and the look on his face is like, "Holy fuck, he's not kidding." I gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I like the interactions between the seasoned vets and the rookies in this movie. I think it's awesome.
Yep. And it's very realistic in terms
Mhm.
of these guys have probably never dealt with anything like this.
This is
They're
where they
fre-
find
they're
the
fre-
watch.
Yeah, they're freaking out.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
the older guys are there to basically get them right back on focus and get them back to what they need to be doing, rather than focusing on, holy shit, this is way worse than anything I've ever dealt with.
Yeah.
Indeed.
There's
McQueen,
a
man.
similar moment there in the very beginning where Paul Newman's, building maintenance buddy guy gets burned.
Yeah.
And that's when Newman figures out, like, holy shit, this is serious. We're not
And you
fucking around.
kind of see him get rattled for a couple of minutes.
Oh, yeah.
there, where he's just kind of freaked
when he's
out.
talking to William Holden on the
Yeah,
phone,
and
he's
and
freaking
like-
the hell out.
Yeah, he's just barely able to to get his message across coherently.
And he had been in
just kinda
command the whole
stunned.
show. Up to
That's
that
his
point.
inflection point where he starts getting to realize, like, oh, this is serious. And his journey as a character begins in earnest at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of switched sides in a way. He's now realizes that the shit has hit the fan and this is real and it's bad.
He's like the guy in real life that built the Titanic and happened to be on it when it went down.
Right.
Right.
I love that the Carlos, the bartender, is like continues to cheerily make drinks for people throughout.
Yeah, right.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, in a lot of
you know
ways,
he's
And
getting
the band
drunk.
played on, or the bartender kept serving.
well,
He's getting overtime for the. He's getting overtime for this. So he's
Well, I was just about to bring that up. Like, speaking of the Titanic, like he's the one man equivalent of the band, just trying to keep people calm.
That's it.
Maintain that air of normalcy around all of it, so people aren't freaking the fuck out.
It's a good
Yeah,
idea. I mean,
But the only customer he's got is Richard Chamberlain. He keeps handing him bottles.
That's right. He's getting hammered. Plus, his suit gets progressively worse.
Yeah.
Okay, here's where we establish that there's explosives available.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Which
is
is a
that
little
standard
known fact.
equipment for a fireman to carry around lumps of C4? I mean,
a lot of it is sometimes, yeah. I mean, if you're fighting wildfires, a lot of it is exploding areas to act as fire breaks in between the fire
And
and
even
the
for
fuel.
like structure fires like this, you might need to do stuff like stuff like this.
Blow a
clearing
hole in a
debris-
wall. Yeah.
clearing
And then
debris, stuff
sometimes
like
they're
that.
just badass guys that just like to blow shit
Just
up.
like to blow shit
this
up.
movie is so well researched. I gotta have a feeling that that's grounded in reality and not just a piece of stagecraft. But it's not something I would have expected a fireman to carry, right?
Well, it is kind of counterintuitive when you think of it, but it is
Like
a
fire
very
with
useful
fire?
tool.
Well, you can blow fires out by blowing them up.
I was fixing to say, don't they do that on oil fires?
Yep,
Don't
they
they
do it
use
on oil
explosives
fires.
to blow out an oil fire?
Wildfires, you do it on them to build a fire break. You blow up the area in front of them, yeah.
As I was rewatching that, the only improvement that as I was watching the whole film, there was only one moment where I thought it would have been a little bit better, and it's that when they go to blow up the explosives, they should have given the detonator to the Bobby to let him flip the switch.
That's right, yeah. Go on.
Because he was like all excited, like, what kind of explosives are you using? You know, he was all excited and
Yeah.
interested, like any 14-year-old boy would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, he show it to him and then he hits the button 10 minutes too early. Shit.
Oops.
But this is where the set they've built for this top floor really comes into its own. And you start to see things like the smoke and the flames coming into it. And
have you guys mentioned how many sets were built for this movie?
No.
In the commentary, they said it was 57 sets.
Wow.
That's amazing. That's a lot.
Yeah,
that
it
is a
is.
huge amount. I can't think of any movie that I've heard had that many sets or more.
Wow.
And that's 56 more than anything new from Lucasfilm.
Well, I did notice a lot of things were green screened. I mean, back then, it was easy to tell if something was green screened, like the part with the stairwell. Okay, that part of that was green screened, and you notice it
They're
a
in the
lot.
scenic elevator.
The Peerless
and
building, the Peerless building, when they're talking to each other across the street, you can see that that's green screened with the model in the background, right? There's a lot of stuff like that in there.
But that's a matte process, right?
Green screening?
Well, were they doing an actual green screen in 1973?
Yeah, well, when you do green screen,
there
they
is-
use the matting process. Yeah,
there
you're
is
right.
some matting in this. I don't know about green screen. There's a lot of matting.
I think it's done with an optical.
I might be using the wrong
process.
term. I'm not.
Well,
Well, back then they actually used blue screen, and the matting process is through. It's part of the plate is shot, and they block off. That's the matting. Is they block off the other part, and then they rotate the film back and put in the other part.
Right, and that's how they did a lot of those shots in Metropolis, right?
And then mat off the actual part that's already been photographed.
Just
So
missed
it's
the
a
part
weird
where
process.
missed the part where the barman gives the kids a couple of shots of bourbon. And
Nice.
Yeah.
In their Sundays, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's like, what are they going to do? Put me in jail? I'm
And then it
dying.
says, have you seen movies about gladiators? No.
Oh, have you ever seen a grown man naked?
Turns into Leslie Nielsen in Airplane, right?
So this is where
You're the
Richard
pilot.
Chamberlain realizes he's an abject failure in life and just needs to throw himself out of the window.
He is such a weasel.
And Carlos
goes
becomes his
to-
best friend.
He goes
Yeah.
to save himself and
He
abandons
left the
his
wife,
wife.
behind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cute wife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is a bit of a weasel.
You spend the entire movie thinking, "Wow, this dude couldn't be any more of a piece of shit," and then he constantly proves you wrong throughout the entire.
Oh
movie.
no, yeah, he's got another level of shitness to excel to or exceed to, whatever, to ascend to.
Mhm.
Coming, he's not done showing you.
Oh
how much
yeah,
of a
he
piece of
amps it up
shit
to
he can
11
be.
by the end of it, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But
especially when he's
I think it was
kicking people off
legal
of the
that
fucking
pointed
thing.
out the fact that it was so out of character for this particular actor. He never played roles like this, and he pulled it off.
No, he'd always
brilliantly,
been
man.
the hero or the
Yeah.
handsome leading man.
Mhm.
Yeah. But these two really did work well together. These guys.
Yep.
Really did, and she knew all along he was just a con man, but she still liked him.
He
She
can't
was
even
gonna-
give her the phony stock certificate because he put his jacket over the man that came out burning out of the elevator.
Right.
That's right. Yeah. And she was going to offer him everything. He was going to get it all.
Yeah.
And I don't mean the
instead,
money.
He just gets to take care
Including
of
the cat, right?
Including the cat, yeah. He was going to get to pet her monkey.
Would you like to touch
now
my
we-
monkey?
Now we've got the feelings in hallways part, which we have to get.
Yeah, here we go. Dun, dun, dun,
Meanwhile, the fire is still raging.
I forgetting. Would you like to touch my monkey?
Yeah, William Holden's still got that immaculate jacket on. Not a touch on it.
He's the captain. He's going to go down with his ship.
He is.
He states that at upcoming.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's a point where he says that.
That includes his retard son-in-law.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
My
Oh
bastard.
my God,
Good
that's
for starting
horrible.
fires. That's what it's good for.
I did my best to capture some of the
Well,
best facial
isn't-
expressions they did when I was making this film.
Yeah.
Isn't he literally wearing a smoking jacket?
Yes, he is.
That's right.
How ironic.
Well, that's a good capture there. Well played. Yes, well played. Yeah.
Although you're right. So far for a 70s movie, in fact, have we seen anybody smoking cigarettes?
No, I don't think
No,
so.
there's
No,
not a
person
single
smoked a
smoking
cigarette in here.
this.
That's
No.
unusual for this time frame.
And you would think they would have had at least, just ironically, have one fireman smoking a cigarette. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
sorry.
I mean, it's an old trope.
Oh, I think William Holden with a huge cigar would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Right.
Cookie,
Cookie.
get my cigars.
This
He's
is where
just-
they decide to set up the breeches boy, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, first they're going to try the helicopter. Didn't they
that's
do the
right. That's
helicopter rescue
right.
yet?
That's right. Yeah. No, you're right. We're doing the helicopter.
Where panicky woman doom everyone to death once again.
Right.
no, that's Richard Chamberlain. He's the panicky woman.
No, that's later. That's later.
No, that's later. No.
All right, yeah.
No.
Well, this is when the women decide to get in front of the helicopter. Yeah,
No,
let's
they're
run-
actually getting ready for the breeches boy right here.
Oh, we must have.
They're
we
getting
must-
everything away from the windows.
we
No,
must have been
no,
distracted.
I think they decided to do this first, and they were also going to do airlift. Is what
No,
they were gonna
don't
do.
put her on that. She's going to bring that thing down straight away.
Yeah. Whoa.
Thing's going to crash.
Come on now.
Shelley Winters was busy. That's why they've got.
Shelley Winters was busy. I think she just got scared away because she did Poseidon Adventure and it wore her
Right?
out.
That's right.
Yeah.
But she's going to
Shelley Winters
she's going to
die
bring
of a-
that breeches boy down.
Seeing Shelley Winters die of a heart attack was like, I think, the first realistic heart attack on screen I'd ever seen.
Yeah, that was actually quite shocking. I watched that when I was about 9 or something, and it was
Yeah.
a pretty shocking scene because she was the hero. She did.
She was
great
the
stuff
Olympic
there.
swimmer.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you think, oh right, she's done it, and then bang, she's dead.
I can just picture 70s watching this movie. The big woman still here.
Where are the big women? So so Darius has got a great point about Richard Chamberlain still alive. There's not many of these this cast still kicking around. I think the
all these people passing away, and
Susan
Clint
Flannery
Eastwood
is,
keeps going.
and there's a couple of the wives or whatever. Susan Flannery is still around. Most of them are gone. Yeah, Robert Wagner's still
and
around.
apparently they all died of fire.
They did. They inhaled smoke.
Wait, Faye Dunaway isn't dead.
Robert Wagner and Faye Dunaway are still around. Yeah.
No, Faye. I think Faye died. Hold on.
No,
Did she?
Wikipedia says she's still alive. She's 81.
She's still around. Yeah, and so is Robert Wagner,
Wow.
isn't he? And
Robert Wagner's 92. He's still kicking.
He's still kicking around. Yeah. So there's a few of them are still going.
I'm sorry, I was going to say it was sick joke with Robert Wagner.
I'm not even sure that Jennifer Jones isn't still alive. She just retired. She didn't necessarily die. So.
Oh, look it up. Died 2009, age 90.
Did she?
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
She was a star from the 40s and 50s, so she was older then.
Yeah. There's still a handful of them around the cast,
and there it goes.
Everybody in the production side is gone. So.
Oh, was that was the bit where
that was the helicopter.
That was the helicopter.
That's where the girls run out because naturally you're going to run out underneath it.
Yeah,
and totally disrupt it. Yeah.
But it's like watching that scene in the modern era of red pill YouTubers and stuff. Just like, oh my god, it's so cliche, but it's exactly what they talk about.
See the lighting in this scene? It's what bugs me for films made at that time. It looks too much like it's lit in a studio rather than natural lighting.
Yeah. I think
it always bothers me.
Mr. Tickle Trunk is right though. If they just threw the women out the window at the start, everything would have been fine.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
I think we're about to have an appearance by Dabney Coleman.
Are there any women here today?
Dabney Coleman is about to come in as. See, I love this whole section where they're talking to Steve McQueen. You're going to have to go up there. Wait a minute. You're standing here telling me people are going to die, and you're saying I've got to go up here?
Yeah.
Apparently,
he was one of only 2 people qualified to do it.
Right here, Paul Newman working out the gravity lift or the gravity brakes on the scenic elevator.
Yeah. Right.
That's again him demonstrating that he has all the way down to individual relays, the specifications and knowledge of everything that was put into this building. This is truly his baby. He knows it inside and out.
And he's improvising and doing the best he can with what he's got.
And what's funny is, guys, I was watching this when I rewatched it the other night, and when he actually goes, and it looks like I think he uses pencils to keep the breakers open. I was like, man, I have done that before. Working on something at the manufacturing plant I was at. I mean, that's
totally he's wedging the relays open.
Yeah.
Executive decision.
Yeah.
He's jamming something in the switches of the relays to force them to be in a specific on or off position.
Right.
Thanks, Mr. Tickle Trunk, for getting those bots. Thank you.
Message deleted. Oh, so disappointed.
And again, you have Steve McQueen and Paul Newman throughout this entire movie working the problem.
Yep.
Yes,
they're working the problem. They're doing whatever they can to mitigate.
They're spit roasting it. They're working it from both ends.
Yeah.
That should have happened with the 2 Susans. That should have happened.
Another Gary Byrne during a fire movie. Nice one.
Yeah, but I do like this set that they've got because they can do so much with this. They've got people flying out the windows. They get the the elevator.
Hey,
they get
the we few, we happy few, we merry band of brothers. Isn't this that scene?
Kind of, yeah.
Well, this is where you're saying we could put 12 people in the scenic elevator, and it's like which 12, and it's like the 10 women that were going to go on the helicopter plus 2 more.
Yeah, and he wanted one of them to be a fireman for sure.
Yeah, and one of them be a fireman.
Yeah, he said the woman that helped the kids, right, which is Jennifer Jones, and
fatal mistake.
The fireman. He wanted a trained man in there, is what he said. Yeah,
and then the rest are picked by the size of their breasts.
And
we have to save the Tatas.
Women first is very toxic. That's
Now,
true. Yes.
That was something I expected somebody to say, women and children first, but nobody says it.
No.
But they do it. That's what's funny. They do it, but they never
for
say
that
it.
first
Yeah.
group of people that go in the elevator because they haven't yet panicked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think it was something that wouldn't need to be said at this time period. It's just understood.
Yeah.
Don't let her go, Fred. Keep her with you. Don't let her go.
Don't let her go, man.
Don't let her go. We're mourning you. Don't let her go.
Don't do
All you end up with is the cat.
That's right.
Now, is this the guy, that fireman? Is he the guy we think is Paul Newman's son?
The fireman that's his son is the one that there's
The
a
one that
scene where
didn't want to go down in the.
But that's the one.
elevator
he
shaft.
doesn't want to go down the shaft.
It's not the
is
same
it?
guy. At that
don't
point, this
know.
dude was trucking up the stairs with,
okay.
with
You're
the other
right.
guy. Yeah.
There's a Shelley Winter substitute there. Yeah. I wouldn't put her in there because she's doubling the weight.
Yeah, you could have fit like 2-3 people.
He's
in there.
1.5 people. Is that what you're trying to say?
That's right.
But there's kids in there, so it balances out.
There you go.
Pretty
bounces
sure,
out. There you go.
pretty sure Newton warned about this kind of thing.
Oh, was that supposed to look like she's praying? With the lights coming down from directly overhead. And her
It's
arms
very
with
much
her hands
church
across.
lighting, for
I
sure.
think it is. Yeah. So yes, and you know that they're not going to have a smooth journey down. You just know it. But by this time, when they show shots of the tower, I love it. It just looks so fucking good.
Yeah,
and
it
then
does.
with the flames coming out, and each floors are exploding, it looks like a real tower. They've done such a great job.
And they do a really
Because
good
it's
job
huge.
from a
It's
technical
huge.
standpoint
Huge.
too.
Yeah.
Because when you look at it, like the helicopter's going to have a hell of a time flying around that building with all the fires creating all sorts of thermal traps and shit like that.
It's got to get really close, and yet obviously the rotors can only get so close.
That was my biggest gripe about this movie, and it always has been, is how the hell did they get Steve McQueen on the top of that elevator without chewing the rotors right into the side of that building?
I know.
The only explanation
We're
could
talking
be
inches.
is that they had a really long cable and they went up to the top above the roof and dropped it down. That's the
It's
only way.
You're right. That's the only way they could do it.
Yeah.
Because you could not get him that close without the rotors hitting
You'd
the
have to
glass.
swing him and hope he got over there. I mean,
Yeah, it did seem a bit.
Using Steve McQueen as a wrecking ball.
Right?
That's right. He's between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
this
they're
was a
setting
good
up
idea,
this
though.
thing.
This
Yeah.
was a good idea.
Yeah, it was. Got
You
the
would
women
do
out.
this.
It got
Any
the
way
women
to
out.
get people out. Any way to get people out. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing I wondered about this is like, it's going to take a while to get those people out there. So why didn't they set up a second breaches buoy?
Well, you could have set up 3 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah, you would.
They may
think,
have only had
right?
one.
I just was
But
wishing
yeah,
that
it's
when
such
they
an uncommon piece of equipment, right? So
Right.
Yeah. I was just wishing that when they fired it into the floor there, that it hit someone in the chest and killed them.
Right.
it almost hits Carlos.
That would have been funny.
It smashes into the bar as Carlos is standing there, and he jumps in surprise.
Yeah, that would have been funny.
My gosh.
Hey, we're all gonna get out of here. Go on.
Yep. Fireman signaling.
That's usually what happens. But these are realistically good ideas, which is a great way to film this.
Yeah, they didn't do crazy stuff in here. It was all.
Yeah, there's
sensible.
not much unrealistic in it, is there?
No.
Yes, it's dramatic, but that buoy breaches the buoy is a realistic idea. You would try that.
Then it's a real thing that exists. Like it's
Yeah,
not like
exactly.
they just made it
Absolutely.
up for the movie.
And the thing that struck me as I was rewatching this is like every time they get a good idea to, beat this fire and rescue the people, another surprise comes out of
There he
left
is,
field
rubbing
and
his
just
head.
like,
Yeah.
"Ah,
Mm-hmm.
bastard!
This is where he sits down, starts rubbing his head, starts thinking, yeah, what are we going to do? That thing blown off his track.
Just, I
Damn it.
really shouldn't have pissed Robert Evans by stealing his wife.
Right?
Shit. I love this part of the movie is just phenomenal. I mean, it's just scene after scene, action after action. There's not so much crying in hallways now. It's got away from that.
No,
Yeah,
and,
the
and yeah,
tension is
the danger ramps up with every minute as it goes on. Yeah, it's really good.
You know, the fire's getting closer and closer and closer to the promenade room. They haven't yet declared it out of control yet because they still think they can rescue everybody through the breaches buoy and so on. But the tension is just building, 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 and you're just like, oh my God, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, because at this point we don't know that there's a solution. The whole thing isn't just going to burn to the ground. We don't know that.
Right.
And you can already tell, like, the firefighters are doing everything they can to slow this thing down, but they're like, every time you see the outside of the building, it looks worse and worse.
They keep calling more and more alarms in, and they're fighting a losing battle. It's obvious.
But they're just playing for time, trying to get as many people out as they can.
That's what they're doing
before they have to back off.
And they're taking losses. They're taking losses.
I think 2 or 3 of the firefighters end up dying.
Yep.
They do. And the other thing is, at the end of this, if they didn't have a way of putting the fire out, what's going to happen to this building? I mean, is the whole thing going to come down and kill? There's a lot of buildings around it. Is it going to kill a lot of people around it?
Yeah.
See that scene right there that you're looking at, where they're looking across to the building? That one's matted. Is that the what you're talking about?
Yes.
With matting? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It still looks cool as hell. Don't get me wrong, but you can tell that it's a
but it's
special
as
effect being
good
done
as
there.
it could be in that era. That effect is as good as it could be. I don't recall when I watched it at the cinema any disbelief.
No
suspension of disbelief. It looked perfect.
Yep.
Am I the only one thinking like that one little lap belt on this thing is gotta?
Yeah, that's really not a.
Like, why is there no shoulder harness or anything?
Now that right there, that's rear projection, I think.
Okay. See, they saved the good-looking dame first. You notice that?
Yeah.
I don't think that's matted. I think that's rear projection.
Okay.
If I was riding in that creaky little thing across, like, they don't.
Right.
In my opinion, they should have emphasized like the height fear a little more as you're slowly being winched between these two buildings. They show it like in a span of a few seconds, but you know it's got to take like 4 minutes for you to get across that gap.
That scene right there where he's talking to the helicopter on the radio. I don't know who did the wind effects in this movie, but if you've ever been in a tall building, it does get windy up there. And, that I thought that was an awesome touch they put on that they and up there in the promenade room with the glass busted out, they're facing a wall of wind.
Yes,
every time they're near 40 or 50 mile an hour winds. I mean, it's there's.
I thought that was cool touch they put in it. Yeah,
good point. Yeah.
And right here, William Holden starts talking about, I don't think we're all going to make it out of here. You know.
Yeah.
That's why they sent the big girl down in the elevator. She'd never fit in that freaking basket.
Yeah. So I don't know. You didn't catch it in one of your stills, but Jennifer Jones has fallen out of the.
Yeah, she already has.
Elevator and smacked the building on the way down. I was like, oh.
Missed it. So and she hands the kid back as she's doing it.
Yeah.
She dies saving the child. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which
and
is,
the effect where they dropped her and she hits the side of the building, I was like, wow, that's
I'd never seen anything like
Man
that.
of War 665. Yes, that is who that is.
It was visceral, that effect, her hitting the building on the way down. They did that with a number of the people that fell out. Yeah.
Something
very visceral. There, look at that great shot.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Look at that.
Yeah.
Something you can only pull off if your miniature is actually huge. It would, because otherwise it would bounce too much. It wouldn't look like a limp body hitting a structure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Gary knows all about huge miniatures.
Limp bodies.
You know me and my jumbo shrimp.
So yeah, Johnson in RoboCop is in this.
Yep.
Yeah,
he's one of the firemen.
I missed him. Yeah.
Well, he's the fireman that made it up. One of the two that made it up to the promenade room.
All right, good catch. Yeah. The thing that annoyed me a little bit about this is, and it's still the days where they didn't have full credits at the end of a movie. Now we've got 5 minutes of credits, 10 minutes. Then none of the stuntmen were in the credits.
Yeah, and that's a crime, man. It really is.
Like you say, the stunt guys carried this movie.
Like I was telling you before the show, I love real stunts, real. That's why I love George Miller's stuff. You know, like the Road Warrior and stuff so much. I mean, it's just there's nothing that CGI can get you close, but it doesn't compare to the real thing, man. It's just
physical effects done well are always the best.
Yes, they are.
The full
that's
roster,
blue screen matted right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The full roster of stuntmen get a call out on the commentary track.
Good.
That's blue screen matted right there. You can really tell.
I mean, only
I think it is this whole scene right up until he falls on the mattress. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The air mattress.
The one thing that did puzzle me about this is you've got all these people right at the base of the building, and yet there's people and things falling out on top of them. They would be set a lot further back from the base.
I was fixing to say, I wouldn't you think they'd be inside? Because at one point he actually tells them, "Oh, there's going to be glass all over this city. Move the barricades 4 blocks back." He tells them that, and these guys are just hanging out like there's a party.
But they're all firefighters. They're not. It's
that's
not
true.
You're
You're
from
right.
the public.
They are. They're not the public. That's for sure.
But particularly at the end of the movie, there's so much shit falling out of the building that anyone directly below would be impacted.
Oh yeah, that final scene. Shit,
I think the perimeter should be way further back.
I think you're right that a modern safety perimeter would include all the workers as well. Like certainly all these people administering aid and stuff wouldn't be right.
That's a great shot right there of how, because you saw this lobby at the beginning of it when they were walking in, and it's a totally different place now.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
It's triage now.
It looks like there's a war going on, man.
They're on the red carpet.
Fire, right?
And here's Dabney.
There's Dabney.
There's Dabney. Yep.
There he is.
He's the only one I didn't mention him in my intro, but he's a great actor.
He is a great actor, man.
I love this guy. He's a character actor that's in so many things, and he's just like the building structural engineer.
What I love about this is that they're setting Steve McQueen up. Yeah, you know what, buddy? You're gonna have to do this. It's you.
Yeah, his reaction is just classic, though. It is. It's so great. So how
can't order you to go up.
If you don't do this, all these people are gonna die. We're not guilting you or anything, you know.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Just laying it out for you. But you see how it is, don't you?
There's no guilt.
He's like, well, how am I going to get back down? And he's like, oh, shit. That's just classic. I remember in the theater when I saw it, everybody was laughing when he said it.
I love how they don't say anything either. They just stare at him with a blank look at it. It's just like, don't ask questions you don't want the answer to.
And then he's talking to Paul Newman, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know. They'll find some
dumb son of a bitch to do it." Yeah.
So the women are all out, and the men are revolting.
All right, now it's Richard Chamberlain's chance to become even more of an asshole.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, if he doesn't get out soon, his entire outfit will disintegrate. So
right, because it's being burned up with every passing minute. Oh man!
And this is where his father-in-law stands.
Me and the boys, see, we had a little conversation, see, and we decided we're gonna go.
Yeah.
And then William Holden's like, "Oh, you think you're a man, huh? Bam! I'll show you who's going. You're going last. Cookie,
you know what
my
they're saying?
cigars."
You know what they're saying in this call? McQueen sings, "Paul, I've usurped you. This is my movie."
That's it.
I have more lines than you now.
Yes.
Definitely.
You got paid $1 million. I got $1,000,001.
Yeah.
I mean, I think of
that face.
Bush Cassidy and the Sundance Kid every time I think of Paul Newman.
Shit.
But I mean, this is probably my second favorite movie with him in it, and I'm just biased. I dig it. I dig this whole genre.
Newman and McQueen were both kings of cool.
Yep, they were.
So it's just hard not to enjoy anything.
Hollywood tough guys, man. They were.
It
were awesome.
It is interesting that they only starred in one movie together, though. I mean, given they were so big, the opportunities financially there to create a vehicle for them both to be in.
You know,
It's the same thing with Redford because they only did the 2 films, and they wanted to do a third.
The Sting and Butch Cassidy.
And it's funny because they're associated together so closely, but as you say, Gary, they did 2 movies.
I think if
and they wanted to do another, and of course Newman died before any chance ever came around because they talked about it all the way to the end.
Same thing. If Steve McQueen hadn't died, I think as they got older, they would have found an opportunity to find the right film for them to do something.
Think of the potential, Think of the potential.
Because they had to know that, you know, a little bit of time passes, and if there's a chance for them to do something together, they both enjoyed. It would have been mega, right?
Wow. Did you see that? What
Carlos was trying to save the booze.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good man.
Hey, D-Bud's back. Thanks, buddy, for joining. I really appreciate you being here and your contribution to this channel. Thank you, my friend.
But these shots, man, I love this one in the helicopter, man. You know, that's really him. It's not a stunt man going up in the helicopter. It's freaking cool. I mean, those guys were great. Both of them were. Newman and
the only person I can think of comparable is Tom Cruise in the modern era, right?
Yeah, exactly.
True superstars.
Not
just stars, superstars.
The days of the Hollywood icon are really coming to an end. I can't think of anybody besides Cruise. I think Pratt may be on that level one day. He's not there yet, but he could be one day.
If he was given the right vehicles.
Brad Pitt a little bit. But
but I'm not in a hurry to go see Bullet Train. I mean, you know,
it's not bad. I enjoyed it.
But when Mission Impossible comes out next summer, I'm going.
Hell yeah!
If given the right properties, Henry Cavill could.
Yeah.
But if they give him a heroic Superman,
he should be the biggest friggin' Hollywood star going
give him
right now.
Heroic Superman.
But they don't like that image now. That's why he's sidelined.
Yeah, because he would be the biggest.
Oh, he's sidelined only in the bad press. David Zaslav loves him.
Right, but if he was a wimpy, thin jeans soy boy dude, he'd be getting every movie there is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can't get his job, there's something I'm really curious about Ezra Miller's movie, right? What the hell, man? I'm living in a bad sci-fi movie. It's ridiculous.
On that last exterior shot, I think we're up to like 12 fires showing on the exterior.
Of the building.
Yeah, and I noticed that. Yeah, they keep doing that. They're building the fires up. Sorry, mate.
No, I was just wanting to ask you if you're aware about Paul Newman, because he played Lou Harper in 2 films, 2 great fucking films, and Newman tried to make a third one, and they couldn't secure the rights because it was a different studio. So they ended up changing his character's name, and they called it Twilight with Gene Hackman. And it was his last time to play that character. And it was sad that they couldn't let him have the name from the detective series.
All right, yeah.
Cool.
I don't know if you remember that film. It was James Garner, Gene Hackman, whatever her name is that I can't stand.
Detective?
Yeah, he was a detective, private detective.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, with the vampires and the high school.
Yeah.
Okay, shut up. Stop talking. Different Twilight, dude. Different Twilight.
All right. Thanks. Got another bot. All right. Got it.
You got it. Thanks, mate. I must be becoming a superstar. I've got bots.
It's your head. It's the shape of your head. It looks like a penis. So.
But when you think of the what ifs are so incredible with these guys. If we just got the right deal, the right property.
Well,
the Drowning. Cool. Yeah, I remember that movie.
They're hardly in the movie at the same time, but the chemistry's there, man.
That's why I paused it here. They're finally together as a real. They have now 10 minutes together doing stuff.
So much BDE on screen, you can barely stand it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they're just 100 years from now, these guys will still be known. You know, they are superstars, true superstars. And as they say, Tom Cruise is probably the only equivalent now today of these guys.
And Paul Newman had that impact on him.
Yes.
It was his relationship with Paul Newman that led him down that path.
Mm-hmm. One of my local movie theaters had all these black and white photos reproduced really huge on the wall. and there was only one spot of color on any of those photographs, and it was Paul Newman's eyes were colored in blue.
The brightest blue.
You know, it's funny to me how many people don't know that that's a sequel to The Hustler. I mean, I'm like,
they've never seen The Hustler.
What in the hell? Of course, how many years was it? It was a few decades between the two movies, right?
Yeah, well, Newman
20
was starring
years.
Newman was starring in films, as we saw with Somebody Up There Likes Me or Loves Me, 1955. He was already a star in the 50s. Yeah. So,
but of course, after Color of Money, what did he do? He went and did Days of Thunder.
Cruise, yeah,
and did his own driving in it. All because of fucking Paul Newman.
Mm-hmm. Had a big impact on him.
Mm-hmm.
To this day.
As an entertainer, that's the way to behave. That's the way to act.
Well,
always think your audience.
Can you recall...
and somebody said it earlier. Authentic. They're looking for authentic people, man.
And everything I've ever heard about Paul Newman has always reinforced the idea that he was just a good man.
I've never heard a bad word about him, and that's very unusual for any era of Hollywood. Never a bad
somebody's
word.
always got an axe to grind, right? But I never heard anybody bad-mouthing Paul Newman.
Nope.
Yep.
Yeah, he's he apparently was a good human being, so. And a tragic end for his son, unfortunately. But then he turned that into, what can I do to help other people in that situation?
Give back. That's right. That's when he created his foundation.
Yeah, and he never once insulted his fans. Never once spouted off about stuff that he, didn't have to.
Yeah, he wasn't political. He was not political at all.
His political acts were living his life the right way and putting back what he'd earned into other things like charity. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
And he also started a charity for his son that's in the movie because he died young. Yeah. He only died like 3 years later.
The mayor's sitting here chewing ass, telling people to tie yourselves down. Damn it. Yeah.
So this is the scene in the making of that you see an awful lot about the direction of when they're setting up the explosions and everyone tying themselves down, and Irwin Allen's direction of that is just meticulous.
Yeah.
Right down to I'm going to fire a pistol a second before the explosions so that you'll know it's coming. And you see the reaction in the filming of the actors.
It's awesome. It is awesome.
Like
when those, this is one of the best scenes you'll ever see in a movie, man.
It was meticulously planned. Nobody got hurt. All the water's going, the fires are going, the explosions are going. It's just brilliantly done.
And they get it all in one take, multiple cameras.
That part right there where he shields the flames with that hot suit on.
That's
cool.
one of the best scenes in the movie ever. When he's got the suit on and gets the door and shields the flames.
So Paul Newman can get through. Yeah.
Yeah.
They build the tension with this scene when they're zooming into everybody's faces with the clock going. Yeah, it's very cool.
I just love it. And I love the way that Irwin Allen filmed it. He meticulously planned it so it just worked out.
And I love the looks on all their faces because they know what's coming and they're just kind of mentally preparing themselves.
Who's going to make it and who's not? Because they were told, hey, this way some of us will survive. It's going to be a lot
of. I think there's a bit of trepidation amongst the actors because they know there's going to be some real shit going down here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, some of that's probably not acting. That's legit.
Yeah. So they're like,
about to go down.
Kaboom! Am I doing my own stunt?
That guy right there, the way he shook
when it
went off,
guy?
I was like,
the only thing at this point was you're thinking, which one of these guys is going to die? Because somebody's going to die.
I know.
And then the explosions, that is just incredible. I mean, look at that for an effect. Just incredible. Man.
And of course, we got guys diving out the window. Of course.
Yeah. It's a long
Have
way
we mentioned
from the
that
top.
Irwin Allen directed all the action scenes, and then the other director did all the character scenes. And the guy who did the character directing, he supervised the edit together of the action and the character sequences. Yeah,
John Guillerme, the French-English guy. Yes. So, we wondered about that. Guillermin. We wondered just how much he was involved because he got a bit pissed off years later, but But Irwin Allen, in the making of, is clearly directing those action scenes. Clearly.
Yeah, Irwin Allen did all the action scenes, and he did all the character scenes, and
and there goes
supervised
Carlos.
editing together.
Yeah, poor bloody barman, or he's...
Why they always got to kill the bartender, man? Come on.
Because he's Puerto Rican. He's got to die.
Guillermo was a great director. He did do some good stuff. Mm-hmm. Oh no, this is just great. I love this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And like you say, you have the two hardest things to get right in animation: fire and water.
In the same shot, right?
Pretty sure that's the name of a great song.
Convincingly now.
Pretty sure that's a great song by the name of the band, by the band Free, Fire and Water.
I work in computer graphics, and so every time I see like a ship going on the water, I can tell you every time it's fake or whether it's a real ship, or whether there's waves or whether it's flames. I'm like,
the mayor, check out Holden. He gets hosed in that shot.
Yeah,
he does.
Wow,
yeah.
He's trying to save the mayor.
And when you watch the making of, they've got big streams of water right on all the main actors, so they are getting hit, physically hit with all that stuff,
pounded with a fire hose or something. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, they were not getting spared.
Nope.
So. Yeah, I agree. The Slapshot 2, not a good idea, but Paul Newman in Slapshot, one of my favorite movies of all time.
You kidding me? That is
they should have done a second one, dude. What a great film.
Fan.
The Hudson brothers were great. Newman, God, what a great comedy.
I don't even like hockey, and I loved that movie.
But that movie is priceless, man. But you know what? If you do like hockey, the Hansons, every team's got a guy like that.
Oh yeah,
they call him the enforcer, man. The thug.
Slapshot is now being added to the list of shows we're going to have to cover.
Oh,
movies we're going to have to cover. Yeah.
That interview that opens the show with
if you do that, you're
talking about,
and
then you get free. Talking about the penalty box. That's hilarious, man.
I want my 20. It's got my quarter. The machine's got my quarter.
Right. Took my freaking quarter, man.
Yeah, freaking quarter. This was so well done. One shot. It's all one shot. Most of it. Yeah, just.
And they made it.
Yeah.
It's one take with multiple cameras.
Yeah.
Because we were not knowing until this idea how anyone was going to survive in this movie.
Yep.
But then this is what I did worry about in. Underneath, everyone, if they're too close to the building, there's all that shit coming out of there. It's going to hit people on the ground.
Well, all they had to do was go inside. They probably told them all to get inside before they blew it.
Or get away from the building.
Yeah, there you go.
World of Arthur Brown. Fire! I want you to burn.
For those about to rock.
And then you got the aftermath. Then you got the aftermath. Everybody finds out who made it and who didn't.
Now it's a Who song.
Yep.
Give me water.
That visual is just awesome, man.
Yeah,
that model they made for that thing is just badass.
That's great.
I would have loved to have been on set for the final blow up of that model. Oh my God, that just would have been like every model railroader's dream.
Right. Did they destroy it after the movie was over with? Did they blow it up?
Well, I mean, it's effectively destroyed because it's been burnt and then soaked with water, right?
Right.
I bet someone saloons it, though.
Probably.
Somebody somewhere must have
Either
it.
that or it's in some studio's prop house somewhere.
Or some Hollywood casino.
They should have kissed there. Right there, they should have kissed. Yeah, he's looking around for Jennifer Jones. This was
OJ's
the
last
one
line. Here's some consolation pussy.
Yeah, take that. I gotta go get my gloves on.
Gotta go get my gloves.
There's some pity.
Has anybody seen my wife?
This was the one a true emotional moment in the film, because I think the other stuff is just feelings in hallways.
Yeah.
Like this stuff is like, who cares?
Yeah, this one right here. Look, the fire did you a favor. Don't worry about it.
That's right.
I mean, really.
Look
he
at
was
the publicity.
about to get divorced anyway. Come on.
Look at the publicity.
Right.
Here you go. I just sent you something. 70s.
Think of it this way. Now you get all
a
the
shot
money,
of the tower model.
Okay.
Really?
Hang on. Let's try and do this then.
And you can actually see how big it is by compared to some of the objects in the shot.
That's what they say.
Yeah. It's always important to have something in the shot with your wiener.
Gotta have something in the foreground. That's right.
I learned that from you 70s.
Something in the foreskin
That's
ground.
right. It's like that scene in Top Secret where the guy goes to pick up the phone. Remember
Oh
that?
God, that's the forced perspective on the phone.
That's
It's
right, the
hilarious.
best forced perspective scene in a movie ever.
And you know where that prop came from? Is from the movie Dial M for Murder.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
There was a shot Hitchcock wanted to have a forced perspective shot of this giant phone, and so that was used in the foreground. Then the camera went up, and then she actually answers a real phone in the same shot. It's really tricky how they did it.
So, in this 600-page long website that you've sent me,
No, I thought I sent you the JPEG.
no,
It's
you
down
sent me
near
a
the
website.
bottom. It's down near the bottom of the page, but I could have sworn I sent you.
Oh, there's the
image.
Oh, that's Mad Magazine. That's awesome. I had that.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know
I
they did
had
that.
that. That is awesome. That is awesome. I had that one.
So
God, I wish I
there's a
still had
picture of the
those.
real model.
Yeah, I've got a. I'm going to send you the longer link here. Here you go. That'll take you straight to the image.
What, longer
supposedly.
than this?
There it is.
Yeah, it's in the private shot.
There it is.
That's it.
Just
There it
click
is.
on the goddamn thing.
There's somebody
There you go.
standing right there next to it.
It's just
Oh yeah! Wow.
just click on it.
Yeah.
That's what
That
the
thing
buttons
is-
are for.
Because over to the left, you can see a guy in the background. He's probably
Yeah,
about
right.
20 feet
It's
behind
about
it.
the size of
It
Drew's
stood over
penis.
2 stories.
See him?
It's Supreme
Jesus.
Heretic's penis.
That looks like it's more than 2 stories. If that's a man
no.
over there to the left.
It's 75
Oh,
feet
he's in the
tall.
background. He's like good 20, 30 feet away. But the fact is,
Somebody-
it's as I recall, it was 2 stories or just
No.
over 2 stories.
No, it's 75 feet
75
tall.
feet?
Was it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's much bigger than 2 stories.
That's what the film
It's about
historian
4 or
did.
Yeah,
5
what do I
stories.
know?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
men, shit.
And the thing is, there's
we're the
also
only people
little-
that can read 1 inch is 100 miles on a map.
You know what they did with it? You know what they did with it after? They gave it to a lot of little people to live in.
Yeah, like they did an Alien.
Like Comics Division is
Yeah,
like
What's that
comic.
one
movie
of
where Matt
these.
Damon gets shrunk to go live in a...
Comics Division has a whole floor in here.
All right. That's great.
That was good. Sorry, where are we? Oh, we're still playing the movie. We're not done yet, you know.
Just about
The
done,
movie's still
though.
going.
Oh,
All the
yeah, here
dead
we go. The
bodies.
Fallen.
This is a great moment.
Fallen. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Roll
it's,
out the
David
red
Quinn.
carpet, baby.
Oh, there we go. She's still got her clothes on though, so lucky.
Oh, here's-
her.
He said to keep it for a big a monument to all the bullshit in the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
Said, "How come your penis is so small?"
Because it was shot out of scale.
Because I'm an architect.
I'm gonna keep dragging
Yeah.
bodies out till somebody asks us how to build them. Yeah.
Starting to feel like the end of Die Hard now.
Yeah.
Dude, I
There is
told
such
my
a
wife that
connection
thing,
between those
look,
films.
watch the final shot.
Yeah, it's
He gets in a
very,
car
very
and drives
like
off, and it's a pan back. It's just
Yeah.
like the end of Die Hard.
just like Die Hard.
It's-
Apparently,
yeah.
Roderick Thorpe was inspired by this.
There you
when He
go.
wrote the book. And there we go. We start to get the old. And thanks to all these people.
Yep.
And yeah, there it was. So the chat have been on fire. I just wondered how they think. What do they think of this movie overall?
Gonna
Do you
get
all
some
love
ass
it?
tonight, he said.
Do you love it? Is it a 10? Is it a 9? Is it a 10? What do you guys think in the chat? Let us know. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not coming up as exact text on that page, but the page that you linked to, Google is saying an excerpted text says, constructed as an elaborate, nearly 100-foot tall model.
Oh, Jesus.
The tower is
Wow.
integrated into the film itself.
Well, we'll go back and take a little look at that in a minute, but I guess we can dispense with the rest of the credits.
The credits, yeah. We know who's who on this movie.
We do.
Yes.
Wow, what a ride. And the movie too.
It's a great ride, man. I'm telling you, it still hangs on the bottom rung of my top 5 ever, man. I
on fire.
really love it. Love it.
It's literally fire. Yeah, it's I can see the flaws in it, which is that there's this sort of TV movie level drama in the non-action scenes,
and with the lighting too.
But as a technical accomplishment and an overall thrill ride, it's still a 9.9 out of 10 for me, and it's still in my top 10 movies of all time. Absolutely adore it. It's a thrill.
Yeah.
And I appreciate now not just that, I appreciate now the effort that went into making it.
And the attention to detail in it. Yeah, that's the thing that I always love. Yeah.
I had not just said that it's a great film. It is that thing because a lot of love went into it. Passion.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen this movie in quite a while, and rewatching it, I was just reminded of how good it is and how good the practical effects are throughout.
Sorry, I just noticed, Pope, you got a dash, buddy, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, no, thanks for being here, my friend.
No, thanks for having me, and it's good to actually watch this movie again because I hadn't seen it in years, and I think I got a lot more out of it this time than I did watching it before.
Cool. No, I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's for you, my friend. That's for you. Thanks for turning me on to that band. But yeah, thanks for being here.
Hey,
have a great night. We'll see you soon.
Have a great one, guys. I'll see you guys next time.
Yeah,
All right,
have a good night, Pope.
Cheers.
See you, Pope.
Take care, man.
I'm just gonna hide that one. There we go. Yeah, it's I mean, we'll probably have to knock it in the head shortly, but guys, what do you think? You're still up there. It's still up there for you all. You love it.
You know I do. I've said it 100 times during this show. It's one of my favorites ever. If it's got any failings, it's that song, which they were clearly trying to get another top 10 hit like they had with the Poseidon Adventure. But the other thing was maybe the editing a little bit. It could have been trimmed down to a good 2 hour 15 movie. I think they could have done that.
But I think though, Joe, that it really does fall into what 70s mentioned is that Paul Newman realized that all of his dialogue is in the first act.
Yeah.
And it's like he needed more. He couldn't let Steve McQueen steal the fucking movie from him.
Right. Yeah. And you know, it really, these guys were probably their own agents. You know what I'm saying? They probably had to fight for that their whole careers to get that kind to build the kind of career they wanted. You know, it sounds petty, but you know, when you're the top dogs, that's the kind of thing that you're worried about. You know what I mean? So
well, yeah, and funny because I mentioned it earlier. I watched a documentary where it said that competitiveness really only went one way. It was Steve McQueen towards Paul Newman.
Yeah,
and
Newman did say later he felt he'd been too weak and taken advantage of.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, and I've always thought that Paul Newman was the better actor of the two. Like I stated earlier, I think McQueen falls more into the John.
Well, Newman,
Wayne
Newman is an actor, while
McQueen.
Who brought that up earlier? Said he just basically was playing himself.
I did.
McQueen.
That was you. I think he's a John Wayne.
I think
type.
you're right.
He plays himself in every film, but the thing is, he's authentic. That's why people buy him in every part. And
that's like Harrison Ford. He can't really act.
No. Look, Harrison. It's funny you mentioned him because I'm sitting there thinking, you know, you could miscast him, and he was smart in the parts that he took, right? But
like,
I mean,
okay,
Harrison
good example.
Ford
Are you ready?
What the guy from
What
Red
Lies
October?
Beneath?
No.
He's terrible in that film.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When they do the reveal of him being the serial killer. He's
Yeah.
so likable and affable when he starts to laugh like he's crazy.
Yeah.
I laughed out loud going,
like, wow,
he's acting
Are
crazy.
you serious? But yeah, I couldn't buy him as Jack Ryan and those two friggin'
oh yeah, believable.
Well, no, I couldn't because I've read the books though.
Oh,
and
well,
he's
I
an
separate the
anti-James
books.
Bond. The best, I hate to say it, the best guy that's ever played Jack Ryan was the first one. Alec Baldwin played it to a T. He's the anti-James Bond. He's the guy that is an analyst and he's a genius, but he always ends up falling into the storyline. And you You
But
couldn't
he doesn't usually
believe.
get into the action in the books. That's where Clark and other characters like that, Chavez, they're the ones who do the action.
Right. But
Whereas in the
I just
films,
couldn't
they
believe
switched
Harrison
it.
Ford in that part, because who's going to think that Harrison Ford wants to shy away from a fight? No, that guy's Mr. Fisticuffs, right? I mean, he's, you can't believe him in that part. At least I couldn't. But anyway, sorry,
I don't
guys.
think
We got
Harrison
off
can
on a
fight his way out of a
tangent there,
paper bag personally, but
yeah. But
I think
but
Steve
yeah, McQueen
McQueen
was just he wasn't the actor's actor. He was a presence. He was a Hollywood icon.
absolutely agree.
Very
Star.
authentic, and everybody bought him.
Steve
movie
McQueen
star. That's
is
exactly the words. Movie
If they'd
star.
have flipped those two in their roles, this movie wouldn't have been near as good. Would not have been near as good.
No.
Okay.
I
You would have never bought Steve being scared. You never bought that. And Paul knowing what to do in every situation. You wouldn't have bought that either.
Well, you wouldn't buy Steve
cast.
McQueen as the architect, really, because an architect is not a blue collar job, and Steve McQueen is a blue collar guy that you're gonna have a beer with at the corner bar.
Yeah.
Not
Anybody?
that Paul Newman is
what's
an
your
asshole,
favorite
but-
McQueen film?
Me?
Yeah, all of us. I'm curious.
Probably
Great Escape.
Great Escape, man. Yeah, that's the first one that pops in everybody's head. Isn't it?
I'd have to go
but
for
this would be a
Great
close
Escape.
second. Yeah.
My favorite is Sand Pebbles.
Papillon would be my second, but
I like Hunter
well,
too.
Papillon's great,
I've
but-
got a thing for Hunter, man. I really dug that.
Well, it's a
movie.
true story. So
Yeah, it is.
I like it when he does his little biopics.
So
The
we got
Blob.
a few. Yeah, we got
The Blob, yeah.
Red Shirt says Le Mans.
Yes, the
which,
Blob. I forgot about that one.
Red
Yes.
Shirt is into the
CO2!
motor racing.
It's CO2. I can't stand
That's
the cold.
Wolfen has Bullet. Yeah, I can't see past The Great Escape because it's just a beloved movie that I've seen 100 times at least. It's
So for Bullet, I'm conflicted because I really love that car chase sequence, but the rest of the movie just kind of drags on me.
Yeah. It's
I
definitely
think
well known.
something impressive about that film, though, is there's a scene between him and Vince Vaughn in it. Or not Vince Vaughn, I'm sorry, Robert Vaughn. And the original script had him saying almost an entire page of dialogue to Vaughn's character. And he walked off, came back, and took that entire page of dialogue and shrunk it down to one line. He says, "You police your side of the street, I'll police mine." And I'm like, wow, how did he do that?
If I realize if I put these chats up here, it hides Gary's face, which is quite good.
Oh, but it's great because I can look over. Oh,
just kidding. So, yeah, Bullet is a great car chase with a mediocre movie wrapped around it. I think that's true. The car chase alone is revolutionary, of course, and as well.
And the car's a character.
To me, the only other car chase that I think comes close is the one in Ronin years later with the Frankenheimer Ronin.
Oh,
French
that
Connection.
movie.
French
Oh.
Connection's a good one too.
Same director,
Good.
William
That's
Friedkin.
Frankenheimer. Yeah, so he understood how to do.
Wasn't
a
that
good car chase.
Friedkin?
Right?
That did French
Frankenheimer.
Connection? Wasn't that
Yes,
Friedkin?
yes.
That
He
was
did
Frankenheimer,
To Live and
too,
Die
yeah.
in L.A. later.
Wasn't
too.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
Frankenheimer, and then he did Ronin. It was To Live and Die.
Because I love Ronin.
No,
was To Live-
Friedkin did French Connection, and he did To Live and Die in L.A.
Frankenheimer.
too.
So I want to tell you my favorite
I
part
thought
of the
Michael
car
Mann
chase.
wasn't it Michael Mann did To Live and Die, or am I getting mixed up?
No. It was
My
the same
favorite
guy that
part-
did the French Connection. It's the same.
You
guy.
know what I liked about To Live and Die?
That was a-
in
No,
LA?
it is William Friedkin. It did
Yeah,
French Connection.
That's what I thought.
Friedkin.
The
I'm thinking of Frankenheimer.
Yeah.
Frankenheimer
Yeah, I
did
get-
Ronin. Friedkin
Yeah, he
did.
did Ronin.
Yeah,
French
I get
Connection.
mixed up.
Yeah.
Well,
You
they're
know what I
both very
liked it-
similar directors.
You know
They
what?
were guerrilla
bots.
directors.
The bots are back. You know what I liked about
No.
To Live and Die in LA? That they killed the main character off at the end.
Oh
That
man,
was great.
they did the
I love
departure
that.
ending before the departure, right?
I
yeah,
love
I mean,
that.
it came out of nowhere.
Yeah. I loved that. Yeah. It was like, well, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it's great to see CSI guy there, or Grissom, in anything. William Peterson.
Yeah.
So
But,
my favorite part of that car chase in Bullet is right at the very beginning where the bad guys realize they're in for a chase and they both tighten up their seatbelts.
Yes, that was
because
good.
this is before seatbelts were like a thing that everybody did all the time. And the especially the driver, he's like looking in his mirror, and he's looking in the mirror, and he's like, all right, now we're going to get serious. And he tightens up his seatbelt so he is not going anywhere because he knows there's some shit going down.
Yep. Pretty cool.
It is, yeah. It is one of the rest of the movie is so, but that whole sequence is worth watching millions of times. It's just so good.
I tell you,
it reinvented. It's a reinvention of car chases. Absolutely.
Did you guys ever see the movie with oh God, Roy Scheider, the 7-Ups?
Fuck yeah, that was
that
technical. That is the sequel to the first French Connection.
Okay,
because Roy Scheider's character is the real cop.
Okay, so have you seen it? 70s.
I have, yeah, quite a while ago now, like 30 years ago.
That wreck into the back of that semi truck. You know, it was an accident, right? You know that was an accident. They actually pulled that car out from underneath that truck, picked up the glass, and put Roy in there. The stuntman ducked underneath the damn dash right at the last second. But wow, I mean, it's just like those George Miller films. You know, something goes wrong, and they actually capture something that you'd never capture again, man. That was just amazing to me.
I know.
Cool.
Yep.
It's interesting what you say about that being the real French Connection sequel, given there was a French Connection 2 that really the spiritual sequel.
Compared to the first one, it was horrible.
It's because Roy Scheider plays the same character in both films. He's based on the same cop.
Yeah.
And so therefore it has that direct connection because of Scheider. But the other thing about Ronin is it is the first film to be shot in Paris where they were allowed to fire guns.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Because there was laws against it in
I
Paris.
do love Ronin, and I do love Frankenheimer. Yeah,
it's a great film. That ending when she gets taken just broke my heart because, you know, you wanted them somehow to connect, and then she's taken off, and you know she's going to be murdered.
Yeah, it's a great movie, well underrated in my opinion. But so, gentlemen, I'm going to have to, sadly, because we could talk like this for hours. We could go on.
And we have. And amazingly, I want to credit you on this one because last time I made fun of you that you took an hour-and-a-half movie and made it 3 hours. You actually only went a few minutes over because the movie is 2 hours and 44 minutes.
I went to a lot of trouble to plan this one. I plan. That's my thing. I can't help it. I don't just go live. Shit is planned. Darius knows that. So.
I'm like, we're all over 40. We got to pay.
I have to go twice. I've had to take a break. I was born with my dad's bladder, man. I blame the Rush beer.
I love that, dude. That is awesome.
Henderson Brewing Rush beer.
Just got the whole barrel.
I want an AC/DC Back in Black lager.
There you go.
That would be good. Was it black? Was the lager actually black though? Because you can get black lager.
I love black lager. I love Guinness. Guinness is like my favorite thing to drink.
Well, that's
you get along with my brother really well, Gary. Yeah, he
drinking stout's like a meal. You're drinking a meal.
Stuff. Yeah, but it's so fucking good.
You have some black lager, and then you got lack bladder. Is what happens.
Black bladder.
That'd be me. You know, when I was a youngster. In Britain, and mothers were told in the 50s and 60s in Britain to drink stout because it was good for their baby when they were pregnant. So that's probably why I look the way I am.
Well, they called it the meal in a can because there's so many calories in it.
They were told to drink a can of Guinness every day, then it would be a bottle, not a can.
One of my closest mates is from the East End of London, and he was serving in the army over in Ireland. And he walked into an Irish pub and ordered a black and tan. And it was one of those, everybody stopped playing the piano, music stops, everybody stopped
because
talking.
The black and tans were a certain group.
Yeah, he didn't know that. He didn't know his history. The guy gave him the drink, and he says, "You might want to leave now."
That's right. If you get to a certain, let's say, a Republican pub, don't order a black and tan.
Don't order a black and tan, man.
It's like in the American Werewolf in London. Excuse me, what's that pentagram on the wall?
I love that scene, dude.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's on my list of top 10 films of all time. American Werewolf in London.
So,
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
me too.
I'd like to, just before we go, and I'm going to give you guys a chance to plug whatever. I'd like to thank the chat for being
you, Cam
absolutely amazing. It's really, I do this shit for fun. I really appreciate you guys being here and taking part in that. And
yeah, I love it when you have something I can actually join in on. Like when you did the heavy metal night, I'm like, I like one.
Well,
album.
you won't be in the next show then. Cam, thanks, Cam. Das Wolfen, yeah, thanks, brother. Really appreciate it. Deleted Scenes, you're such a great supporter of our channels. I absolutely adore that. Thank you. Man of War,
Z-Bot.
Because if you didn't know this, 70s, Das Wolfen is actually a personal friend in real life of Keith and I.
Oh,
we've actually hung out with him.
Such a great supporter of.
Yeah, he is.
Stuff.
He's great.
Yeah.
Very good friend.
Really, and yeah, I mean, I do this for fun, and it amazes me that people want to listen to it.
Great stuff.
There's many more in the chat. I'm sorry if I don't get to you all. D-Bud, you are the best, buddy. I really appreciate you. Soul Assassin, Top Man, Captain Spire, you have been brilliant tonight, my friend. Thank you. And we're going to do a Boy and His Dog. That is going to be one of these movies.
There you go.
Salute you and your sacrifice for. Soul Assassin believed 10 out of 10, and I believe he's right.
We who are about to die.
Salute you. And you know what? I'm looking back, and if I forget anybody, I really apologize for it because you've all been brilliant. Some guy called Pop Culture Minefield was here.
Who is that? No.
I don't know. I know he's got a very small penis. That's all I know.
Oh, I was asking Miss because I didn't know there was a Slapshot.
Mr. Tickle Trunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
and then I found out it was like Adam Baldwin or one of the Baldwins. And I'm
it was horrible, but it did have the three original Hanson brothers in it.
Adam is the only good Baldwin. Well, maybe Stephen, but and that's because Adam isn't related to the others.
Right.
The Sentinel was here. Good man, our brother in metal.
I will tell you this: there is one more Baldwin that I like, but he's actually not related, and that's. You did say it, Adam Baldwin. Adam,
yeah.
Yeah. The only good living Baldwin.
I had my Jane T-shirt on yesterday, so that was it.
Oh.
Yeah, Jane, Hero of Canton. Yeah, so thanks to the chat. I mean, if I've missed anybody, I really apologize, but you guys are the best. So yes, I would like you all to have a chance to plug your your wonderful shows.
You just labeled me, man. That was it.
So I can tell I've had a few beers. So it's not often I do that when I'm.
Yeah, you sound so relaxed and chill right now.
It's my weekend. It's a weekend for me.
Are you going to Vegas?
So, no, I feel like I'm missing out on something big. I can't afford it. I can't do it. It's just not possible.
Don't feel bad. I'm not going to Vegas either, brother. I am married to a compulsive gambler. I am not going anywhere near Vegas, my friend. Ever.
No, I agree. And for me, it's work. I've got shifts at work. I can't drop, and I got money. It's money,
I'll go see them anywhere else, but not there.
I'm targeting if they do a Dallas thing next spring like they did this year, because Gary's out down in Texas. I'll be at that one because that's my spiritual.
Then I will see you there, my friend. I'm 2.5 hours away from that town. I'm just the other side of the Louisiana border from.
I used to live there. I will be there. Well, you're near Baton Rouge.
All right.
Actually, I'm closer to Dallas than I am Baton Rouge. It's it's about 4 hours down to Baton Rouge. It's only 2.5 to Dallas.
Yeah. So
I'll
be at that. But
I'm going to be singing "Love Reign Over Me." You're going to be missing it.
Oh,
that's a classic, dude.
Tell you what, we'll do a duet then next.
I'm going to see if I can get Perry Chan's going to be there. I'm going to give him my phone and see if he'll record a clip of it.
Well, I think we should do the Who's version of Barbara Ann next time we meet.
Oh God!
I love that video, dude. Because they filmed it. It's great.
Bob.
Fucking Keith
You
Moon
can
is
do
ridiculous.
Keith. I'll do somebody else. Right. So, Imperatus, my friend, give me the lowdown on what you're up to.
Not really much this week. Feeling a little under the weather, as you can tell from my voice. Normally I'd be gaming on Thursday with Foulball Productions, but he'll be in Vegas, so I'm gonna see if I can find someone else to join me. If not, then I may just skip it this week. But I'll probably end up joining Vigilante Williamson on Friday, who's running the Cocktail Lounge. Other than that, I'm not really sure what's going on this week, other than just trying to get myself back to feeling normal.
Well, I hope you do soon, mate, and I really do appreciate you being here. Thanks, buddy. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, sorry I'm so quiet, but like I said, just don't want to wreck the voice any more than it already is.
No, for sure. And that's what this stream needs, somebody quiet, because the rest are all noisy fucks. So thanks, buddy. Joe, my Norlands buddy. I've been in that city so many times. I love it. But I wish I'd met you last time I was there.
We have fun here. It's good to see you guys. Thanks for having me for one of my favorite movies ever. I love talking about this movie. I think it's fantastic. Two of the greatest icons ever, in McQueen and Newman.
Amen.
Myself, you guys will see me on YouTube Thursday on our talk show. Me and my brother. The Brothers Hack the Matrix at 6:30, and I'm going to be doing my Sketching the Privateer, the one where I draw my comic book. I'm going to be doing it live from the Comic-Con, where I'll be selling my posters. Saturday at 4, I'll be doing it live from there, so you guys come check it out on YouTube. Tonight on Twitch, I'll be doing 3 hours of video gaming from midnight to 3, so you can check me out there too. I'm always Joe's Atmosphere everywhere. You guys, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for being here. It's been wonderful, mate. Really appreciate it.
Oh, what an atmosphere. I love a party with a happy atmosphere.
Oh, is it over? Okay.
It's over. It's over. I didn't do Imperatus's one, and I went to a lot of trouble to clip this earlier, so
all right, you be good, guys. Till I see you again, mate. Keep on keeping on.
All right. Gary, no, let's move on. Gary, my brother, I fucking love you, man. So
I love you too, dude. I cannot believe how much I love hanging out with you, man. You can catch me every fucking morning during the week, Monday through Friday, doing my morning coffee with Gary, where I might tell fucked up stories from my life to talking about UFOs. Don Ecker is joining me again Wednesday. If you know that UFOs, if you love UFOs, he was the publisher of UFO Magazine, had one of the #1 radio shows called Dark Matters about UFOs. Nobody knows UFOs like that guy and the research, and he knows everybody in the industry.
Has he been anally probed yet? Or
no, he told me. Well, I don't even get into it. We had a funny talk today, and we're actually going to talk about Bigfoot this week, and some of the associations with it through the 411 missing files, which is something different. We're going to go into that, so it's going to be great having him on the show again. He's an incredible guest. And then, of course, on Friday and Saturday, you have TGIF, and Saturday we have Saturday Morning Fun Time, which I'm always excited when you're able to make it there, because you're such a great addition when we do our shows.
We'll be there next Saturday for sure.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Rock and roll. Thanks for inviting me on that, man.
Thank you for having me here, man. I love being with you guys.
Yeah.
I like the tits and the teats. That was awesome. Play that again. Oh, yeah. There you go. That's the ticket.
Got milk?
Got milk. Got MILF. Right, Richard, my friend.
Oh, my Lord.
Thanks
How
for
did I get
joining us.
stuck with all these weirdos? Oh, yeah. I'm a weirdo, too. That's right. Well, the never-ending series, seems like it's never-ending, of Dark Shadows introductions continues 5 days a week. every day you get 1 week worth of Dark Shadows intros. I think we're into werewolf territory now. I think we're in the 1800s, if I remember correctly. That continues on my channel. There's other random clips that get thrown up there. I do hang out on the Nerdrotic Discord a lot, so if you want to chat, I'm over there. I'm on these random streams. I don't know why I keep getting invited back, but I love it. So there you go.
No, we love having you, mate, and I do enjoy hanging out with you. And you and I are huge fans of the Who, and I feel simpatico with you as a result. But you don't care. You had your moment. Shut up. You're done.
Fuck you.
I will be at the Nerdrotic meetup in Vegas on Wednesday.
Oh, you lucky bastard.
And they'll have a karaoke there, so I will be singing.
Well, this one's for you. The greatest band in history that we both love. So
I will be singing Love Reign Over Me.
Well, record it.
Maybe some Rihanna, maybe a little Michael Bublé. Who knows?
I didn't hear those last two names. I don't believe I recognize them at all.
You suddenly turned into Charlie Brown's teacher here.
If
Anyway,
Gary's in the room, I might sing Judas Priest. I can do a decent version of You Got Another Thing
see
Coming.
my T-shirt tonight, didn't you?
Oh,
Steel.
that's even the album that has that song, isn't it?
Well, it's British Steel. Let's get
Got
Breaking the
Another Thing
Law.
Coming. No, that's
Living on
Breaking the Law.
Yeah, and Living After Midnight.
Midnight.
Yeah, Scream for Vengeance has You Got Another Thing Coming.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
Which is a great album too.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant album.
I know Pope loves that one.
My friend
Thanks,
Eric always
Leon.
wants me to sing Living After Midnight, and I don't do it as well as You Got Another Thing Coming. So
Living After Midnight.
that one's
There you
a
go.
little rough on my voice, but I'm no
Well,
Rob Halpern. This, you find
give
the
it a
songs you can
try.
do, and those are the ones you keep doing.
Well, and
Cool.
Gary
Well,
is the
thanks for
turbo
being
lover.
here, buddy. So, thanks, Richard, for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank
Enjoy your
you.
time
Love
in
it.
Vegas.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us tonight. And thank you, everyone in the chat, for chatting, and all of our invisible viewers for watching and listening. And and thank you, 70s, for giving me the power and having me here, even though I disappeared a couple times. But I think I'm going to watch this movie later. And I don't really have anything to promote right now. Although Ryan Roger Athay did a video on me. I haven't seen it yet. I just noticed before this show. So I'm going to check that out.
Isn't that the greatest position to be in when you don't have to do your own content? People just make content about you.
Well, I have no idea what he says in the video. I haven't done a stream lately.
Hey, man, Darius, he did one on me, and he actually pointed out that my English was bad in some of the description. And I was like, wow, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, wow.
Well, God knows what you do.
Good. I wouldn't want him to fluff me up.
Fluff you up. So,
as usual, you can find me here on Mondays doing this show, and Wednesdays on Slash McSplitter's channel, where we do the bad movie reviews. Viewer advisory, bad movie. Although some of those movies are good, in my opinion. Zardoz was great, but Carol hated it.
Watch the stream we did on Zardoz, everybody. It's good.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was good timing because it was
It was
fresh.
great. It was. Right, so
I must be dreaming.
So that was for you. That was for you, Darius. Thank you, my friend, for being here and assisting me backstage with all the fiddly buttons and things to press and getting rid of bots. I really do appreciate it, sir.
Oh yeah,
You are my-
thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk and Just Another Red Shirt, and anybody else who helped us smash the bots.
Indeed. Thanks, Mr. Tickle Trunk and Red Shirt. Appreciate it. And it's always a good hanging out with you, brother. As for me, I've been working on a couple of new videos recently. One for and I want Darius to say it for me, Bahabuli.
Bahabuli?
Bahubali.
Bahubali?
Yeah, you said it great the other day.
Did I?
Yeah, you went Bahubali.
Bahubali.
I got a video on those great Indian movies, Bahubali, and then there's a couple of
Oh,
other
Bahubali. Bahubali.
Bahubali. That's it. You say it way better than me. I mangle it every time. Working on a video for that, and but I'm also planning the next It's Only Talk and Roll 2 weeks from now. And I'm gonna tempt fate here, because I've been assured by the man himself, Gary, that he will be appearing on this show with us. So it says 15th, ignore that. August the 20th, Monday, August the 20th, 29th, 27th, 2 p.m. Pacific. We're going to do metal in California. So you're talking LA Sunset Strip, you're talking the Bay Area thrash scene, we're talking anything loud coming out of California. And Gary Nerdotic is going to join us on that show. He has assured me. So that's 2 weeks.
All right, goddammit. Even though I'll just be listening, I will join you. Just so there'll be 2 Garys in the room.
Yeah, exactly. One famous, one you.
Well, we're going to have to call you Jerry.
Hey, I've got 2 award-winning graphic novels, motherfucker.
You did, and exactly. You shot them. Did you say you shot them? Because that's pretty brutal.
I drew them.
You drew them. So Gary is keen to appear.
Nobody.
Obviously, that's to be TBC, but he has assured me he's going to appear because wants to talk music, which he doesn't normally get the chance to. So that will be happening in 2 weeks' time. I need to obviously update the thumbnail, but fuck it, I'm not perfect. So I will stop sharing that now. There we go. So yeah, thanks again, everybody. I hope you all have a wonderful Monday night, and I will see you all during the week. I will probably be doing Midnight Edge After Dark Tuesday, Thursday, and we'll possibly be doing Comics Division's Thursday Night Throwdown. In the absence of the regulars, they've allowed unimportant people like me to participate. So I will be on that. Until then, everybody have a great evening. Thanks for being here, and keep on rocking.
Keep on keeping on, folks.
Keep
Good to
on
see you.
keeping on, and we will play some music. And now we press the end broadcast button.